Ozza. Welcome to my channel. Ella. Welcome to my channel. Another viewer. Welcome to my channel. A Viola A. Welcome to my channel. Flawless Diamond. Welcome to my channel. Nightbot. Welcome to my channel. Stream Elements. Welcome to my channel. S.W.Frost is now live streaming Diablo 4 Thai no art offers please Friday indeed.
I'm not really interested into
Now, if anybody hasn't known this is a big deal. Okay? Diablo 4 is coming out with Season 2. They've got a lot of really big changes. Primarily, those changes are fixing bugs that were in the game on release. And the new content for the season is that some of those bugs will be fixed or at least changed into new bugs. Here we go.
Yesterday at Gamescom.
Samo piče na plavi, Mark.
Evo ga još ovdje. Evo ga tamo. Obi ga da. Boću si inoko. Hello bro, what's up? Check it in. Where is your third guy?
Only fucking two of us.
Where is your third guy?
You've killed him! You've killed him! Oh, it's Dracula!
Yo!
Tako smo i mislili.
Samo piče na plavi, Mark.
Evo ga još ovdje. Evo ga tamo. Obi ga da. Boću si inoko.
Drapsnat. Welcome to
my Ništa, moramo da ih pobijemo.
Don't shoot, don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Go play together, okay? Okay? Okay, go together. How we play together? How we play together? No, we have everything. Where are you going? We need to take grip and box and we finish. You know? O, došao onaj god.
Neće zjebati.
O, neće.
Pa ne znam. Nikad nemoj biti siguran, ja bih ih pobio da sam na svom mjestu. Ja sam držao šotku namjerno, rekao, svaki sekund može da se okrene.
They announced Diablo 4 Season 2, and that season is going to be Season of the Blood. It's effectively a vampire hunter. You track down and kill these different vampires, and you have like a companion that looks like some kind of...
They want to get me back, play this fucking game again? What they gotta do is put that Blood Knight from Diablo Immortal in Diablo 4. Just like, don't tell anybody until the day one of the season and be like, yeah, oh, by the way, there's a new class.
Vampire Slayer. However, the real juicy stuff actually wasn't that cinematic and them just announcing and naming it and talking to the actress, etc. It was actually posted, which you can find here, originally posted on Twitter, saying 5 new and returning in-game bosses. Updates to the renown rewards, updates to gym and stat storage, updates to resistance and status effects, and then if you go here, they actually have more details of these. Now, the things that we need in the game currently going into Season 2, we need some quality of life. More than anything, we need things to actually do. We're looking for in-game content. At the moment, the in-game...
something to do besides doing nightmare dungeons. Like, this is why PoE is a better end-game activity game
to my channel.
Than Diablo. Is because there are so many different ways that you can play PoE at endgame. But in Diablo, especially now with the nightmare dungeon changes and the level scaling changes, you want to only farm nightmare dungeons. Like, everybody is funneled into nightmare dungeons, do nightmare dungeons. And you remember I said this on release, that this could be a problem, and now it is.
Content is do a nightmare dungeon until you're blue in the face from doing nightmare dungeons. So what we're looking for is repeatable, new, in-game content. And I'm talking level 100 plus or level 80 to 100. That type of structured content that's not just the nightmare dungeons over and over and over again. Now, if you go in and you look at these sort of patch notes going in the future announcement, you'll see that Season of the Blood begins on October 17th, basically directly after the ending of Season 1.
Great.
And then they kind of break down for you. There's a new quest line, vampiric powers to wield.
I can't wait to socket those into my 2 rings and my necklace. Those will be very fun. Hopefully they, this time around, they add armor onto them proactively. 5
additional in-game bosses. Now, if you look here, this is a little posting which will say new and returning foes for additional in-game challenges. So these say in-game challenges. I'm hoping that means it's not just new dungeon bosses at the end, but actual new big bosses that will have some kind of structure into giving rewards that actually matter and reasons to actually do them. That is what we're looking for with this. We don't just want 5 bosses on the map that there's no reason to kill.
Well, the thing is, like, you need to give the bosses, this is what I think, you need to give the bosses, like, unique loot tables. Like, you want Watcher's Eye, you kill the Elder. You want the Savior, you kill Cirrus. You want... I don't fucking know, Ashes of Dust, or whatever the hell it is, you kill Searing Exarch. You have to add in unique item drops from these high-level bosses. So doing the high-level bosses matters. Because why would somebody go and spend 3 hours, or not 3 hours, but 30 hours learning Uber Lilith? Why would they do that? Just to get nothing. Another version of the Red Horse they already had.
We ignore, for instance, like, you know how the Hellfire area has got the roaming boss, the, you know, Kha'Zix basically that runs around, you can kill him. Not really a reason to purposefully go hunt him down. Forgotten Souls you can farm elsewhere. So we're looking for bosses that are on the map, that there's a reason to actually do. So that's what we're hoping to see with the 5 in-games. Now,
I don't want to see bosses in the open world, because open world bosses are always target dummies. They're either target dummies or broken. There's never going to be a fun outcome of a world boss. Like, even in Classic WoW, what were Classic WoW world bosses? Everybody doing a countdown from 5 to mass report people in general chat to get the people from the other coalition account banned, so it's harder for them to make groups to compete with you for the world boss. Like, this is a fucking, it's the most degenerate shit you can ever imagine. It's insane. It's crazy. Yes. But so you don't want to have outdoor raid content that's challenging. Don't do it. Just put them to make interesting instance bosses.
Look at this. Better target farming of uniques and uber uniques. Now, uber uniques at the moment basically don't exist in the game. Literally, this is a literal mathematic probability, have a better chance of winning your local lottery or Powerball than you do actually receiving an uber unique. So at the moment, they're basically not in the game. For most of the people that spend some money on the game, you basically can't get them. So when they actually say something like better target farming of uniques and uber uniques, the target farming of normal uniques, that's pretty good because people still can't get things like Tempest Lore, etc. if you're trying to get specific uniques. But uber uniques is the one that makes...
Yeah, I got lucky as hell. Like, I got the Ring of Mendown. I got that so early. I think I got it like level 75, and it had a perfectly rolled affix. It was nuts.
Curious, because if this is actually farmable by not really the average guy, but somebody who's trying, you know, like in old school runes,
you should be able to get every item that you want within one season. I'm gonna say it. And I think that the uber uniques I'm gonna say something crazy. I think the Uber uniques should drop from the Uber bosses. I don't know. I'm just crazy, I guess. But I think that'd be a cool idea. You fight the Uber bosses that are really hard, and then you get really good gear from killing them.
If you can target farm pets, if you go and just kill that boss a whole bunch, yes, it's 1 in 5,000 drop rate and things like Zora pet, but at least there's lots of people that have it. It is doable. You just got to go get your grind on. So that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, you want to be able to grind it out. Now, I had somebody that doesn't have a brain in my chat, and he said this: you're gonna get a mirror in a PoE season. You dumb fucking idiot. You can trade in PoE. How can you possibly fucking compare the two things? You can't trade in Diablo 4. How can you be so fucking dumb, man? How you do that? Idiot.
We're looking for a pinnacle reward from a pinnacle boss. Now, as we move forward here, you're going to notice renown rewards. So rewards will carry over when completed on any prior character beyond Altars of Lilith and map discovery. This is a huge addition because I've said this before. And I flip-flopped a little bit on this one because originally I thought, oh, it's not such a big deal, but then when I actually got into seasons, I realized it is actually a big deal. People don't want to do the renowns, especially since...
I don't not do the fucking renown again. They tell me do that shit, I quit the fucking game.
Hey,
and they heard that, they said, all right, fine. And they're not gonna make me do it again. Thank God. Thank fucking God.
If you do it on hardcore, you don't get the rewards on softcore, which to me doesn't make sense. Hardcore is literally a harder difficulty. But what they're actually doing here is they're making it where your rewards will carry over into the future seasons. In fact, they even say that includes potion charges, skill cap, oboe cap upgrades, paragon points. So all of them, effectively all of them, we no longer have to worry about refarming the renown. This is a giant W because this is something that is, in fact, making people quit the game. I know some of you might not...
Well, it's not even really quitting the game. It's like a barrier to entry. Like, have you guys ever been to, like, like, you ever go, like, downtown, and there's, like, a club, and they want you to pay $10 to get in, and you're like, no? It's not that $10 is a lot of money. But it's just like you'd rather just go somewhere else where you don't have to pay money to get in, right? You don't have to pay cover charge. Yeah, fuck that. It's a damn attunement to play anything past 80. That's about right. It's the principle. It is. It's the principle. True, brother.
Doing it, but the reality is some people actually do mind doing it, and this is something people have been very vocal about, that they want this change, so it looks like we're actually getting that change. Now, if we scroll down here, more efficient inventory management for gyms. Okay, they mentioned the Paragon points, skill points, potion capacity will carry over in the new season once you've done the internal or previous seasonal reps. So if you've done it, you're done. You no longer have to refarm this. They are giving up the battle of pushing back on this one or anything. It's just fine. That's what you guys want. That's what you guys get. Now, they're changing to the functionality of status effects such as vulnerable, overpowered, critical strike damage, and also elemental resistance. Big caveat here is elemental resistances are not good. We know that. They mentioned to be fixed by season 2. They're doubling down and basically saying resistances will actually be a thing in season 2. The interesting one here is vulnerable critical strike damage. They've already nerfed it. It's still the best. We know it's still the best because when they went to buff uniques, they actually made those stats onto the uniques, and they also put cooldown reduction, another one that they buffed with some of the uniques, because they know it's the best, we know it's the best, and
I am very sad that they nerfed cooldown reduction because I like hitting the buttons. Like, because, like, I just like hitting the buttons. That's why.
It's the way to make an item actually good, is still put those stats on there. But they talked about in one of the campfire chats that overpower, and like these other type of skills and these other types of ways of doing damage, they want to actually be a thing. So it's good to see overpower on here because changing with the functionality is effectively they're going to try to buff these ones, and I'm assuming further reduce the overall structure of just building vulnerable and critical strike damage. Now, while nerfs do not feel good, I myself roasted the patch when they nerfed all of our damage, and it just felt bad to play. People don't like to be faster and weaker than they are. it is a W, in my opinion, to try to have a balance around different skill types. Of course,
massive fucking W. There's no advantage to having it to where like one fucking stat is 5x better than all of the other stats, and every build in every class uses it except one build on one class. It's fucking stupid. I think that they were right to nerf vulnerability and critical strike damage. They just did it in a bad way, and it didn't solve the purpose because it wasn't good enough.
Damage. So instead of us all just always having to stack vulnerable critical strike damage, and if you don't have vulnerability in your build, guess what? You're just never going to do as much damage as someone who does have it in their build. It would be nice to see things like Overpower actually be competitive in terms of the top tier types of damage. So I think that that is something that probably needs to happen. It might not feel good when it does happen, but rebalancing the structure of how the damage numbers actually work with these types of damage types, I think is overall going to be better in terms of feeling good with builds. Now, as we continue, updated elemental resistances, they say this is just a visual indicator of what they're talking about, which we saw up here, so there's not really a whole lot to be talked about, except this one thing right here. Stash can now be searched and filtered. So as you've probably seen in some of my videos, I've been playing Path of Exile lately, and I didn't realize how much I would use the search until I actually started playing that game. Being able to
It's fucking nuts, man. It's absolutely fucking nuts. Like, especially if you have like a quad dump tab or something like that, after an entire day, or especially like a few days putting stuff in there, and then you can just search out like every gem, every jewel, every, you know, anything like that. It's so good.
And what you're looking for, have a highlight and filter through, is something that's actually I use like all of the time in Path of Exile. It's going to be hard for me to go back to Diablo 4 without that feature. So because of that, I now know how nice this actually is. I have got real world experience in using it. That will be useful. Now you can scroll down and see the Season of Blood announcement. I actually have a video. It's to be the prior upload on this channel. If you want to go watch my reaction to that, you are welcome to see that. But that is what they are announcing so far. Now what we really need to know is more of this 5 in-game bosses, because let's be honest, a lot of these are fixes to problems they created or are things that just the community really doesn't like renown refarming. Yes, it's a W that's changed.
It is. There is some irony that the hype updates is that they are taking out a system that they put in the game. Finally, you don't have to play the game this way anymore. Yay! Like, what the fuck, right? So yeah, it really makes you think. Yeah, it's the noggin jogging, exactly. So I think that one of the big problems with like Diablo 4 seasons, and this might just be like me as more of a hardcore ARPG player, is that I don't know if the seasons are going to be transformative enough to make me want to come back and play every season. Because like I would play like 1 or 2 seasons and then it was just like, all right, well, I've pretty much done everything. Whereas like in Path of Exile, if I skip 1 or 2, like I usually don't play every single league in PoE. I play every other league, or I play maybe 2 leagues and I skip 2 leagues, or I play 2 leagues, I skip 1 league. Or I take a break for like 3 or 4 leagues, I come back next expansion. That's just usually how I play the game, right? But whenever I come back in PoE, like after not playing it for like, let's say 2+ leagues, the game meta is substantially different. Like whenever I came back for the recent this one, it was 1 sank on my I cannot remember what the fucking Crucible. Whenever I came back to Crucible, the way that I played the game was substantially different from the way I played it whenever I played the different ones. And it was different than whenever I played before then in like Ritzy. Like I played the game in a very, very different way. And the concerns I have with the Diablo is that yeah, it felt fresh, yeah, unironically, is that will the game feel fresh for Season 2? Will the game, like, you know, the end game bosses are but otherwise, will it feel fresh? I don't know, man.
It's not really new content, it's just things that are annoying that are no longer are as annoying, and then things like stash filters, etc., are quality of life. There's two things I like here. One, they're adding in-game content, which are the bosses, and two, they seem to be, we can argue all day about whether or not they're doing it fast enough or whether or not D4 bad and all the memes. However, they do seem to be addressing literal things. People like me come up in videos and say, I have said we need stash search and filter.
No, I think so. Like, I think it's fine. Like, I know obviously there is some irony at Blizzard fixing things that should have been fixed on release, but I will always be positive whenever things are going in a positive direction, and I will be negative whenever things are going in a negative direction. Do you remember whenever I started malding about them removing the reset dungeon button in the beta? And then everybody said that I was doom and glooming and I was just farming hate. And I said, no guys, this is fucking stupid. They should keep it in the game. And I was fucking right. I will always be positive whenever things are improving, and I will always be negative whenever they're not.
In videos, okay? I have complained about gem storage. We all have complained about elemental resistances, and I have also complained, as well as other people, that things like overpower should be better. So I think that is good.
Yeah.
We've also all complained that we don't like the fact that there's no in-game content, so they're adding in-game bosses. Completely depends upon how they're implemented.
In-game, yeah, I guess content's better. Yeah, good word. But like, it's like activities. Like, what else can we do besides just doing that? Like, it sounds so stupid, but like, this is the way that I felt. Is that whenever Diablo came out, in a weird way, there was a lot of in-game because farming at 1, 2, or 3 felt very different in the way that I would play. And it's like you could go back and farm other items and sell them for gold value. You could do other stuff that was like similar to this. You could farm bosses specifically. You could do different things like that. And it was like, and you would try to farm different money, right? And it was also trading. Trading enabled everything. The reason why I played this week in Crucible, last week in Crucible was so much different is because I had never done the Expedition Atlas farming strat. Bro, I sold logbooks like crazy. Like, I was able to pay for, like, my entire word loop basically off of that. It was incredible. So I did that, and it was awesome. And that totally changed the way that I played the game. And that's the kind of stuff that you need to have.
But I like to see anything that is related to in-game, because that is where the game is suffering. We need more in-game. I think we all can agree. Once you receive the in-game, it can be a little boring. So having more in-game, that's what I like to see out of this. And then this right here could be the secret behind these in-game bosses. Because if you look better target farming of uniques and uber uniques, they have this in the same section of in-game bosses. So if I had to guess what this basically means is you go, you get an in-game boss, you fight it with however you access the boss, and then these bosses are what gives you the ability to target farm or, you know, try to get uber uniques, etc. Maybe one of each of the different bosses has a drop table of like 2 or 3 of the uber uniques, so you can target farm which one you're looking for, and you can spam those all day long if you're trying to farm that type of stuff. That could be a W because it gives us something to do in the in-game. Either way, anything for us to do in the in-game are the running.
People need to realize that like Diablo 4 is a casual level game that has like a life cycle of every 3 or 4 months. It resets. It's not a big deal to let people get really good items, especially whenever they beat capstone content. It's like Wargwave's Humility, or Atiash from Kelpie's Land, or Tordile from Kill Jaden. If you get these items, you've beaten the game. You've done everything in the game. You've beaten it. It's over. So at least give them something cool to style on the bosses with. Why the fuck not?
Like Nightmare Dungeons.
I think, by the way, the uber unique drops from the uber bosses should be only solo. You should only be able to solo them. I don't like the idea of buying and selling carries for these. I think it'll just be it'll be a cringe economy. I think it'll just be shitty.
Is going to be a good addition to the game.
No, it will make CCU.
That actually makes it look a little better than just that cutscene where they show a vampire hunter and they talk about it for 10 seconds. When you actually look into the meat and bones of it a little bit and you start digging through this, all of these changes are pretty good. You're welcome to debate amongst yourselves whether or not you think this is enough for Season 2 or anything like this. But in terms of actual updates to the game, factually, I like all of this stuff on this list. It'll be coming in Season 2. Maybe it will irritate us for a few months. Maybe it won't. At a minimum, these are upgrades. upgrades are the things we basically...
The game in Season 2 will be better than it was in Season 1. Good.
Directly actually for the game, so I like that. That one is a dub. We'll see how it actually implements, and we will restructure our opinion on the implementation of the things they say they're going to be adding in October 17th. That's about it. I will be live now at twitch.tv/microtransaction, which you can find in the description or the pinned comment if you care to watch my live stream. I will see you there. Have a wonderful day. Just one last thing I want to throw out here. Subscribe to the Clips channel if you want to see. I've got all kinds of random clips on this one. I'll have the link down below. You can subscribe.
I'm so glad he's playing the other game. We had a conversation about this a little bit, and I'm so happy to see him doing it. This is great. I'm always really happy to see somebody who moves out of being like a one-game ante to playing a bunch of different games and is successful.
You can see like Kitty Cat, so if you want to see videos like this one, these are just little clips and kind of backstage type of stuff. If you're interested, we are super close, 700 subscribers away from our third plaque, as the second YouTube plaque is on the way. This would be a third YouTube plaque on the wall in 3 months, which would be pretty fire. That's what happening.
About my stuff this morning felt nice actually. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing the game one day. I'll link you guys the video.
Molim te, nemoj mi otvarat. Znači, nemoj, jedva sam, ubio sam, nemoj. Znači, ubio sam muvu ogrom. Znači, nemoj. Tako. Da, ogromnu muvu. Znači, ne mogu da ih jurim ovuda. Znači, nemoj mi otvarat. Otvoreno je sve, čitavu noć. Jedino da otvorim da ulaze muve i kerovi. Neće, mačke ne ulaze. Jedine osivi mačak uđu. Otvori ovo. Jedino da vrata, non stop. Znači skinemo pa da držimo sve otvoreno. Otvori ovo. Otvori ti ono gore. No neće ja.
Laki.
Fino ti kažem, otvori fino. Skini vrata i drži sve otvoreno.
Laki. Nema si nevada, Laki. A nisi otvorio ovaj prvo. Tvori ga da malo više vodi. Vidio sam ti sad jednu muvu. Još jednu muvu.
A do sad ih nije bilo.
Što se digao tako rano?
Ja ne znam, već spavat do 10.
A pogasi do 8. Ja se digao prije, si me vidio što? A?
Nisam te vidio. Ja kad spavam, ne idem okolo. 6 seconds. 6 seconds.
Probably much better road for him to go down as a chronic underachiever who never graduated from high school. $6,000 a month is nothing to scoff at. He had a real shot at a good future. Unfortunately, that isn't how it went down. Just 2 years into this job, the U.S. economy crashed, and to keep it as simple as possible, this meant banks were a lot less willing to give out loans to businesses. The issue is many businesses operate entirely on loans, and without them, they have to radically reconfigure their business model. One of these businesses was MetGlass, and because of this, they had to drastically downsize and lay off many employees, one of which was Jordan. Though they did mention that if production picked up again, he would be asked to return to his position. However, unlike the previous times Jordan lost a job, this time he qualified for unemployment, which gave him a decent amount of time to regroup and decide where his life was headed next without having to worry about his next paycheck. He then proceeded to use this unemployment money to get a gym membership and dedicate some of his free time to improving his diet and shedding the weight, all while developing skills in order to get a good paying job that would be less subject to the wild swings of the market. I've been Turkey Tom. Thanks for watching. That's in an alternate universe. In actuality, he spent a while doing nothing noteworthy until his friend Taylor introduced him to a website called YouTube, where he promptly made an account in January 2008 under the name Wings of Redemption, which he explains is his take on King Tut's curse, which read, "Death shall come with wings to him that toucheth the tomb of the Pharaoh." Jordy's poetic twist to it, which he attributes to his penchant for creative writing during high school, is that just as death comes swiftly on wings, so does redemption. This was just one of his gamer tags besides Unlimited UAV, in reference to the fact that in Call of Duty, you got the radar perk when you killed 3 people without dying, which was when Jordy usually died. And Astral Demigod, which is self-explanatory and maybe a bit revealing when it comes to Jordan's ego. The channel remained mostly inactive for the better part of the year until October of the next year, when he uploaded his first Call of Duty commentary video, which at the time wasn't an oversaturated genre whatsoever, meaning he had a major early adopter advantage. Plus, he had enough money at the time to purchase a capture card, which allowed him to get high-definition video, which again set him apart from all the other YouTube gaming channels who actually resorted to recording on potatoes. Last but not least, there was also the fact that Jordy's videos had actual commentary, whereas a lot of gaming creators on YouTube at the time didn't have the know-how to simultaneously record themselves talking while they played the game. For this and many other reasons, Wings quickly found a foothold in the community. The channel then gained its second and less-known name, Intense Camping Productions, due to Jordy's outspoken advocacy for the camping playstyle, wherein the player is mostly stationary in a strategic position, waiting for other people to run by so that he can shoot them down, as opposed to rushing, which is when the player is constantly running around the entire map looking for opponents. This distinction may seem arbitrary and insignificant to you, and it definitely is in retrospect, but at the time, and in this specific niche, it was a hotly discussed topic in the Call of Duty community. Almost instantly, Wings embroiled himself in a controversy with fellow Call of Duty content creator Hutch, known in the game for his gamer tag, Hutch's Yo Daddy. Hutch had inadvertently helped Wings' channel grow by shouting out one of Jordy's closest associates, Z7 Taylor, the guy who inspired Wings to become a COD YouTuber in the first place, and the subscribers Taylor got trickled down to Jordy's channel. However, Jordan took issue with Hutch's rushing playstyle, which he deemed not only inferior insofar as its effectiveness, but also unrealistic and not how the game was supposed to be played in his estimation. Coincidentally, Hutch recently revealed that, for the majority of his life, he was also dealing with some of these same problems that Wings had been struggling with. Regardless, both men were as distant as they could be from empathizing with each other, what with being the representatives of the camping versus rushing debacle, and so they openly antagonized one another. Eventually, this boiled over to them doing a commentary, though it was much more amicable than either camp expected, not resulting in a conclusive debate, but instead a friendly discussion about playstyles. 2010 begins for Jordy with on the right foot. Wings of Redemption is hired by Machinima to produce videos under their content umbrella, which at that time was significantly smaller than what they'd be just a couple of years later. His videos often got hundreds of thousands of views, and his channel grew to over 100,000 subscribers. This is a time when subscriber counts still meant something on YouTube. Another element about his channel that made it really successful in comparison to other Call of Duty YouTubers was that he maintained a pretty busy upload schedule, though this did become increasingly harder to maintain as he was running out of ideas for videos. So, he began to diversify, not just by playing other games and vlogging, but also frequently featuring other people in his Call of Duty videos to prevent them from stalling or becoming boring. By doing this and engaging with other people in the Call of Duty community, he meets FPS Kyle, who would later become known as FPS Russia, and Woody's gamer tag, the people with whom he would start his Killer Already podcast, known as TKA. Surprisingly, Jordy managed to have yet another almost immediately successful endeavor with PKA, partly because of his already established success as Wings of Redemption. However, I should specify that this success meant that it drew in raw viewers, but it hadn't really translated into an actual financial reward, nor did the Machinima partnership. Worried that his work with YouTube wouldn't turn a profit in time for unemployment ready to run out, in late April of 2010, around the time of PKA, Jordy found himself another job, this time as a part-time 911 operator. As always, all tales would ensue. While in one retelling, he says he only worked 3-hour shifts. In another, he claims to work for 72 hours straight, followed by a 48-hour rest period. However, one consistent element of his 9/11 operator story is that the most interesting call he received was from a woman who backed her car over her husband's turkey, which is a proud member of the turkey community I take offense to. 2 weeks into the job, Wings got a spur for YouTube. He immediately quit to focus on it full time. As a matter of fact, the money was so good that even after being offered his job at MetGlass back, he turned it down in favor of the online, despite the potential instability that came with it. With how astronomically promising his prospects appeared at the time, it looked as if Wings didn't get his priorities straight. Objectively speaking, Jordy was really good at Call of Duty, managing to monetize it and become one of the first ever professional YouTubers with a loyal community. Notwithstanding, he launched a successful podcast that, though it was directly related to the gaming community, didn't rely on gaming to attract and retain a viewership. For a guy with a background as poor as his, this is a stellar set of achievements. Regardless, he had a problem. He couldn't help but focus on the negative, to the point where he developed a kind of tunnel vision that prevented him from enjoying how good he had it. In the middle of 2010, he once again got caught up in a controversy, this time by making a harsh criticism of another COD YouTuber, That Guy Who Camps, saying, "That guy who camps has like a 1.4 KD ratio, and is a horrible player in general. I've played Search and Destroy with him a few times." This was in response to a negative comment on one of his videos. At this point, Jordan had already picked up the habit of compulsively replying to negative comments, a telltale sign that someone has ego problems and is extremely sensitive as a consequence. Signs that Jordy had a temper he didn't handle well were everywhere by this point, what with his many hints of having destroyed gaming equipment in anger during PKA episodes, as well as videos of people who happened to match up against him in Call of Duty games, only for him to rage quit when he was losing. The growing tension between Wings and the trolls in his comment section led to his channel blocking people to the tune of thousands, which, given his subscriber count of just under 100,000 at the time, is no small number. These lopsided exchanges Wings was having with his channel's haters, as he puts it, led him to become complacent and expect no further repercussions for his actions. What he didn't count on was that Guy Who Camps was friends with none other than DJ Keemstar, who at the time led a group called Federation of Gamers, dubbed FAG for short, and decided to run a mass flagging operation on Jordy's channel. Some videos of this campaign still linger on YouTube, though many of them, including the one where Jordy responded to the campaign requesting they would stop, no longer exist in original uploads. Though very little of the history of Keemstar and Wings' first bout of conflict remains, we can bridge the gaps by looking at how it concluded. After a few months of the two and their respective fan bases going back and forth, while Keem never succeeded in taking Wings' channel down or blacklisting him from Machinima, Jordy responded with extreme prejudice and, at least according to Keem, was behind a successful campaign to take down the FAG channel. Machinima, seeing that two prolific creators of theirs were hurting each other's livelihoods over what is equivalent to a schoolyard fight, decided to step in and mediate to prevent any further casualties. On September 1st, 2010, fellow Machinima representative Mr. Sark hosted a conversation with the two, ideally so that they could iron out their differences and commit to a ceasefire. Despite Keemstar not having much to defend, having started the flagging campaign, which was absolutely abusing YouTube's system for his personal gain, Keemstar did make the valid point that Wings was being deceptive. In the middle of the video, Keem claims to have seen a conversation between Wings and a friend of his where he threatened lawsuits, which led him to believe Jordy was working behind the scenes to harm them and bully others into getting on board, all while he publicly posed as a harmless, innocent content creator who didn't want any part of the flame war. In the video itself, it's just Keemstar's word against Jordy's, but within a day of the original post, it was revealed that what the people actually got to see had been edited to preserve both Wings' image and Keemstar's privacy. In what's probably one of the most vile displays of internet tough guyism, Jordy asked if the recording had been stopped, and when given the confirmation, immediately began reading out Keemstar's personal information to him, saying that had FAG successfully dropped his channel with the flagging, he was considering taking a trip out to New York, where Keemstar lived, meaning he was threatening real-life violence.
Well, I got you here, DJ. You will stop recording now?
Yeah, we're done.
Alright, well, I got you here, DJ. Can try to run some stuff by you. Is your P.O. Box 1?
That's correct. That's correct.
Is your street address?
That's incorrect. That's incorrect.
Alright.
I don't give my personal where I live at. I don't give that out.
Is your girlfriend name?
Yes, she is.
Is there a phone number?
Can I ask you why you're trying to get my personal information?
I'm just trying to see how much of this is correct, because I gave some of this information to Fisticuffs.
You gave my personal information to Fisticuffs?
Yep.
Okay, so should I find out what trailer park you live in and announce that to the world?
What was the motivation behind this action?
Well, basically, I did some digging, and I tried to find everything I could find out about him in case he actually did drop my YouTube channel.
Though it didn't completely tarnish Wings' image when it came out, it was one of the first concrete signals that Keem was right, and Jordy had a penchant for bullying and scare tactics whenever he thought he could get away with it. Within 2 months of this major hit to his online PR, Wings dug an even deeper hole by uploading a video titled Beast Mode Engaged, wherein he spent most of it complaining about Call of Duty players with the kind of vitriol he usually reserved for the people in the comments. Again, he mistakes the lack of punishment he gets when he dunks on random people in the comment section for a sign that his tendencies to be negative toward other people are somehow a good thing worth putting up on his channel. Additionally, he seemed to think others would appreciate his elitism when it came to Call of Duty stats, which he evidently cared for way more than he should, as we'll later find out. The video was not received well whatsoever, which prompted him to make another one talking about it, but that did nothing to redeem the damage it caused to his image, especially as a representative of Machinima. Not only did it get video responses lambasting it, but people in game forums were spreading the news that basically Wings is a toxic player. I just watched the video that you linked and another where he went 47. That's all this guy cares about. My KD in Black Ops was 7 at one point, but I realized that
HBDES. Welcome to my channel.
He seriously needs to take this advice. From his videos, all I saw and heard were him camping, him talking about how good he is or how bad others are, and him whining that if people voice their opinions of him, he will block them, as stated in the 47-0 video. So he's afraid to take a little abuse, but he's willing to put out a video and engage with a random person for 8.5 minutes for thousands of people to see. Boy, you sure are a stand-up individual. Besides his already notorious negative in-game behavior towards other players, over at PKA, Wings routinely revealed that he tended to break gaming equipment and even monitors in frustration over lost matches. What's frustrating is that he made no effort to conceal how expensive some of his stuff was, but even then, he seemed to not care at all when he destroyed parts of it, a fact that became even more egregious later on when he began to have money issues, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. As the year 2011 began, the focus shifted to more positive aspects of his online personality. For example, he bought and sent a specialized controller to a fellow disabled gamer and YouTuber, Act A Capper, a fact that he continued to mention well over a year after it happened, though Act A Capper was still very grateful, not only for the controller, but also for the subscribers that came with Wings' charitable act. Besides this, he also made a video promoting a fundraiser for the hyperbaric chamber treatment of a girl with cerebral palsy named Ashley Sears. After successfully drew in $8,000 from donors, he completed the goal with another $2,000 out of his own pocket. I could be cynical and say this was exclusively done for PR purposes, but honestly, even if that is the case to some extent, what he did here is very admirable, despite his other flaws. On PKA, he and Woody discuss Ashley's situation, and Wings mentions the money won't be going just to her treatment, but also towards getting her a new wheelchair.
I figured I'd step in and see what I can do to help. I mean, worst comes to worst, I help somebody at the end of the day. Because, you know, you'll earn and lose money throughout your entire life. It's what you do with your money when you have it is what defines you as a person. I mean, I could go take that $2,000 and buy like some sound system that I might sell later for $300, or I could take that $2,000 and give it to somebody and see a physical change in somebody's life and have a memory that will last me longer than a sound system.
And that treatment was so successful that just a few months after, in a follow-up video on Wings' channel, Ashley is seen walking. Quite the silver lining on the dark clouds of these trying times. It was also around this time that he met his girlfriend, Shailene, through the dating website Plenty of Fish. Again, despite his many shortcomings and character flaws, one bad trait Wings definitely didn't possess is greed. Almost to a fault. As soon as they started dating, he started supporting her and her 2 children financially in every way, even providing them with a car. Given how inexperienced he certainly was when it came to handling relationships, it's obvious he got overeager and started splurging on them as if they were his actual family already. However, since he had more than enough money to afford to do this, it didn't immediately create an issue. Another unbecomingly genius move from Wings was that PKA episodes, along with his other projects, were being live streamed on Justin.tv, which would later become known as his Twitch. Over on the business side of his life, things ran smoothly. That is, until the fateful PKA 67 in August 2012, when, for a guest, they had fellow Call of Duty YouTuber The Syndicate Project. With Wings' entire life being Call of Duty, from the get-go, the expectations were high that there would be some kind of tension or argument over something related to the game, but no one expected it to get as bad as it did. Over the course of the podcast, Wings repeatedly belittled and underestimated Syndicate's gaming ability while bragging about his own camping playstyle, which culminated in him claiming he could outdo Syndicate in a zombies match, which was rich considering that it was precisely Syndicate's area of expertise, which added a lot of oomph to the claim. This would almost immediately prove to be a big mistake on Jordy's part, as not only Syndicate, but everyone present on the podcast immediately perked up, excited at the prospect of a competition between the two taking place as an after show to the podcast. Whoever won, and whatever point it proved, one thing was guaranteed: it would attract more eyes to PKA. Wings noticed that his mouth took him somewhere he didn't want to be, and tried to walk back his statements, giving excuses about how the game would take too long to finish, and it just wouldn't be worth the time. However, after being thoroughly pressed to not back out of the duel, he conceded and accepted the challenge. The challenge he himself had posed, by the way. As soon as the podcast ended, the match began, and things seemed to be going Jordy's way. When he started dying and lost the vantage point he had acquired early on, the air shifted, and it was evident Syndicate was taking the lead at a very fast rate, causing Jordy to become audibly frustrated. As the match came to a close, Wings completely lost his temper, hurling insults at everyone else on the call and destroying his controller.
Wings, did you spawn in?
I broke my controller.
You broke your controller?
Yeah, keep laughing, you.
Oh, Wings, I think.
Oh, don't stuff.
Yeah, in there, man.
You.
Me?
Why the you streamed that?
It was your idea.
No, I didn't say.
Yeah, I thought it was your idea.
This devastating loss to Syndicate cemented Wings as someone forever doomed to fail, no matter what he did. At least that's what he thought. Wings then chose to mindlessly attack Syndicate when he had simply lost a game fair and square to him, and if that wasn't bad enough, he became aggravated against Woody, who, even after being insulted, acted as nothing but a good friend to Wings, even shutting the stream down just to placate Jordy's childish rage. This belligerent behavior not only destroyed his reputation, but became a defining moment that would continue to fuel his trolls for many years to come, and all because of Jordy's petty pride over being good at Call of Duty. Of all things in the world to be proud about. Adding insult to injury, he took to Skype to further embarrass himself with Syndicate, offering money in exchange for a fixed rematch, which Syndicate wisely refused. The chat logs were promptly shared with the public, which left Wings' reputation in a complete freefall. Got a deal for you. I got Alky David willing to put up $5,000, you get $3,000, I get $2,000, but I have to come out on top. It's free money. Sound like a good deal or want no part of it? No, not at all. I'm not taking part in that. I'd rather earn money. Well, I need this kind of money. I don't make $2,500 a day. I got a family to feed, so money's a big deal to me. You said you wanted to bury the hatchet. What better way to do it than for both of us to make money? And I beat you by 1 kill in game 5. It's $1,000 to lose a game you're not expected to win. It's regardless of the money, you want to come out on top in this situation. You just made it 10 times worse. No way, Wings. You just blew it big style. Following the loss and the subsequent fallout in the community, Wings posted videos expressing regret for his behavior, immediately followed by videos discussing his life and weight problems. This too was a pattern rearing its head. Whenever one thing went wrong in his life, no matter how mild or seemingly insignificant, it would trigger every other bad tendency Wings had and make them manifest. In November 2011, there's a brief break from this otherwise dark period in Wings' history, as when showing his Mosin Nagant sniper rifle to his audience during a stream, Jordy accidentally rams the bayonet into his TV, instantly puncturing the screen and breaking it. This was one of the first of Wings' many live stream blunders to get clipped and go viral, but it was just a minor distraction from the increasingly dark backdrop that was Jordy's domestic life. While he did seem to genuinely enjoy embracing the role of a father figure to Shaylene's kids, an enjoyment so great he made multiple videos to express it, it was his relationship with Shaylene that was showing signs of unhealthiness. Both Shaylene and Jordy were extremely overweight, and because of their matching pathologies, accentuated celebrated each other's terrible eating habits. Earlier on in the year, Jordy had already expressed his desire to lose weight, only to punctuate it by saying that he planned to do it with the help of weight loss pills. Everybody with half a brain knows that as soon as a medical intervention of any kind precedes the obviously necessary change in lifestyle, whatever weight is lost will be instantly gained back, and that's if there is any weight lost in the first place. It essentially means they're not that serious about losing weight and want to take a shortcut. Said and done, Wings was taking phentermine for most of the year, a drug that's supposed to diminish your appetite. As is clearly visible through the rest of the year, it was not doing its job as Jordy continued to self-destruct via caloric intake. All the way up to October, he can be seen eating fast food in videos without a care in the world. In November, he starts doing a diet vlog, which he supposedly has started with Shaylene's cooperation. Unsurprisingly, very soon after, she's seen drinking a large Coke in one of his videos. Even if his resolve was genuine to this point, it's clear he was actively being discouraged from living a healthier lifestyle by his environment. And for a guy that has as hard of a time losing weight by himself as Wings does, he doesn't need any encouragement to gorge on drinks and junk food all day. Finally, the year 2012 began, and just 3 months in, on March 8th, Jordy and Shaylene break up, but only after he had already spent over $80,000 on her and her family. This raised more concerns about his ability to control his finances, which is of paramount importance if you rely on something as fickle as revenue from YouTube, especially back then. In a video where he talks about this, he reminds his audience that he made much more than an average person makes on YouTube, but that paying for Shaylene and her kids stressed him out too much, to the point where he was beginning to struggle to even make videos. He also brings up the topic of getting a lap band surgery to lose more weight, which again signals how poor his perspective on weight loss still was after all this time. Exercise wasn't even a consideration, never mind a better diet. According to him, they sold the car they bought and split the money, which gave him some financial leeway. Around the same time, possibly the first ever compilation of clips of Wings raging while playing Call of Duty gets published. Casual followers of Jordy were being shown the full picture, that his temper issues had a much wider span than the Syndicate's spat, as there are clips in which he's making detailed death threats to someone else in a lobby. Even if he wasn't serious about all of them, the fact that he's willing to do that while being a relatively public figure and indirectly representing the company shows how emotionally maladjusted he was. Just 5 months later, he found himself a new girlfriend, named Brandy, but that was dampened by the fact that his channel's growth had slowed significantly after reaching 400,000 subscribers. It's bad enough that the channel had stagnated, but it's worth noting that he was falling behind creators that he had originally come up with. For example, Woody's gamertag, back in 2010, was still on his way to hitting 10,000 subs when Wings was already in the tens of thousands and continued to grow with ease. Fast forward to 2012, and Woody had comfortably surpassed the 1 million sub milestone, while Wings had just managed to crawl his way to the 400,000 mark. As his average view count began to decrease despite his incessant upload schedule of up to 3 videos a day, so did his income, though this didn't stop him from buying another truck. At this point, Wings' vlogging content started to become more prominent on his channel, partly because it required less effort, and partly because he wanted to see if another form of content could potentially be successful besides his gaming stuff. Unfortunately, this apparent lack of direction further hurt his channel's ability to pull in views. All of this led Wings to make a Hail Mary effort to try and regain momentum. His idea to accomplish this was to put together and post an elaborate video celebrating his channel's milestone of 100 million views. However, when it underperformed in regards to his expectations, it plunged him into a downward spiral and led him to exhibit the kind of negativity Wings eventually became synonymous with. On Twitter, he made multiple threats of doing something drastic. While there's no concrete evidence of what exactly was said, in September 2012, multiple YouTubers from the Call of Duty community made videos addressing the situation, including more well-known names like Overtflow and Nadeshot. The short of it is, just a little while after involving himself in some drama with his opinions on the Call of Duty competitive gaming scene, Wings took to Twitter to despondently complain that his videos were steadily declining in views, as exemplified by the failure of his milestone video. This worried him because of his financial dependency on them and his livelihood. Plus, he was in debt to the IRS due to his failure to pay taxes for his peak earning period, further stressing his necessity to make money. All of these feelings of pressure and hopelessness led him to suggest he was considering dying via a confrontation with the police, something that wasn't taken lightly whatsoever by the COD community. In response to these tweets, someone told him to keep himself safe, if you know what I mean, to which Wings responded with, with, if I do it, I'll
Tabii
take
sen
Precedor with me. Again, this added
point.
fuel to the fire since
Yeni
Jordan
dozer numarası.
serious claims and seemingly petty beefs he had with other people from the community, which made his online message look like it was done for attention. Not only did El Precedor join into this spat, threatening to call the FBI on Wings over what he was saying, but people from the community such as White Boy 7th Street and D Ranker chimed in, saying Jordy had never worked a real job and was just doing what he was doing for attention. All of this culminated in a nearly 2-hour-long intervention held by Keystar that included everyone involved in the situation. For most of it, White Boy goes into detail about his reading of this episode, saying that he's doing what a 13-year-old girl would do by threatening radical things to get attention. Adding to this that when Wings is in a favorable position, he brags and talks down to other people, but whenever he's mildly inconvenienced, he puts on the role of a This is backed up by the fact that early on in the video, Wings is gloating about how much more money he makes online than D-Ranker does in his real job, immediately followed by him excusing his financial instability with the claim that he supports 9 people with his income, and I actually have no clue what he means by this, considering that at this point he is no longer dating Shailene and should have some level of financial freedom, and even if he was dating Shailene, that would make him 3, not 9 people. Later on, when he's confronted by White Boy about his behavior on Twitter, Jordy's defense is simply claiming White Boy makes way more money than him and thus could never understand where Jordy's coming from. He actually couldn't make someone look like more of a hypocrite if he tried. Not to validate or entirely invalidate either side of this discussion, but to act as if the sole cause of Wings' behavior is his financial situation is willful ignorance at the very least. When White Boy doubled down on accusing Wings of making fake threats to get views and attention, Jordy reacts by throwing his microphone away in anger, only solidifying that the real underlying issue is Jordy's absolute inability to face anything resembling a challenge. This is just one of the many moments that make it clear that his problems are much deeper than him not getting as much money or as many views as he thinks he deserves. On the other hand, this intervention does hold the surprise of Keemstar being the voice of reason, or at least one of the voices of reason along with Woody, who also participated in the episode. Both of them spent enough time assuring Wings that he not only could, but should reinvent himself. And even if it didn't immediately pay off, it would eventually, with a little time and effort put in. Unfortunately, Jordy's self-pity spoke louder than any of the sensible advice that people on this call could provide. Perhaps the most tragic part of it is that Wings still seemed to deeply care about Jordy and was intent on defending him, even when Wings did his best to be indefensible. In regards to the veiled threat spoken to Precedor, Wings played it off as if it were an obvious joke that not only did he not even know where Precedor lived, but even if he did, he could have no way of getting there. If it were any other person, maybe that excuse would fly, but considering Wings' wide arsenal of guns and his previous threat against Keemstar's life, El Precedor had a lot of reasons to take it seriously. The rest of the year played out uneventfully, with one exception of KSI dedicating the beginning to diss track to Wings. 2013 held even more noise to Jordy's stability. His upload schedule slowed down further and further due to him losing hope and recovering an audience, and getting bogged down in the mire of his own pessimistic thoughts. Eventually, this led Wings to get dropped by Machinima, and he had to join another content creator group, Full Screen. On a small side note, it's a little strange to remember how big of a deal these were on YouTube before monetization became what it is right now and made them pretty much irrelevant. Machinima and Full Screen eventually merged into one company before receiving the death blow in 2020 and apparently ceasing to exist altogether. But back to Wings, his changing creator groups coincided with him now only managing to get half the views he used to, and consequently half the money, straining his finances even tighter than they already were. Just 6 days into his partnership with Full Screen, he was asking people on Twitter and Facebook how to leave their partnership due to how slow their support was, and his account being used by the network to like the content of their other creators, something he claimed was hidden in the contract. If that sequence of events wasn't bad enough already, in June of the same year, Brandy broke up with him, sending him deeper into the abyss of his depression. The continuous decline of Wings' online presence, and the very real, looming possibility of him losing a source of income, took a severe toll on his mental state and personality. But the breakup pushed him over the edge, as he lost one of his last sources of validation. All of this led to him posting a video he later deleted called Rock Bottom, where he showed an unusual amount of honesty with himself.
I fail at every diet I take. I fail at every workout regimen I ever do. I give up so easily. I've never succeeded in anything.
Take the cold outside.
And people could say I've succeeded in YouTube, but it doesn't feel like it. It feels like every time I look, there's another new channel that's just in full throttle passing me.
In it, he confessed to depleting his savings to cover bills since his channel stopped being profitable, as well as expressing that he didn't understand why his content simply didn't succeed, causing him to feel like he was a failure and there was nothing he could do about it. On top of that, he says brandy was the only thing helping him with the cabin fever he developed as a result of the grueling hours he had to put into his channel's grind in order to keep it afloat, and her no longer being there for him was a terrible prospect. Unable to take anyone out because he couldn't afford the money or time to do so, his only realistic option left was to continue to grind COD content, which he didn't want to do because, as he said, he'd grown to hate the game, which was a problem since it was his channel's bread and butter. Despite being seemingly stuck between a rock and a hard place, his friends at PKA refused to give up on him and continued to explore ways to lift him out of his slump. They ultimately settled on an idea proposed by FPS Kyle, a weight loss boot camp that will be made into a series of videos. This concept resonated with the community so much that many turned out in support of the GoFundMe page created for it, successfully raising over $8,000, which was well over 3 times the initial goal. Though it's true that his channel wasn't growing and he was losing viewers, Wings still had a core audience that cared about him, either because they saw a little bit of themselves in him, or because if Wings could do it, it meant anybody could improve. One of the people who prominently spoke out in support of this project was none other than Boogie2988. By October, the boot camp project started, and Wings managed to shed 25 pounds in just 2 weeks of exercise. But as soon as this happened, Jordy expressed losing motivation and feeling like he had hit a plateau and planned to quit the project. After another intervention from his PKA buddies, and an effective one at that, Jordy persevered and lost an additional 20 pounds. While many attribute his staggering weight loss during this time period to exercise, Wings himself accurately points out that the real reason behind it was the fact that, while he was at Kyle's house at the boot camp, Kyle's friend and manager, Paintball Kitty, worked 3 feet from the pantry, preventing him from sneaking junk food. As the funds from the boot camp dwindled and the project came to an end, Wings returned to his humble modular abode, and along with it came the danger of Jordy returning to his old eating habits and regaining the weight. To avoid this, Wings took up walking, and using the leftover money from the GoFundMe project, he went to the local Planet Fitness and asked if he could hire a personal trainer, which led him to meet Drew. While Drew was obviously a great influence on Wings and motivated him to keep training, this development also raised some concerns, namely that it tied his weight loss efforts to financial costs, meaning when the money ran out, and it definitely would since Jordy was still in dire straits, the training would cease. Regardless, while he had Drew to back him up, Jordy successfully staved off not just his weight, but also his depression. However, in 2014, after some complications resulting from Drew sleeping with a client of his, which thankfully wasn't Jordy, Wings would potentially have to continue on his weight loss journey alone, which greatly jeopardized his progress. It's also around this time that Jordy was interviewed by How I Became, giving some insight as to how he came up on YouTube. During PKA 172, another idea involving Wings' participation was proposed, a survivor show where they would camp out in the wilderness for 4 days in the middle of April. Interestingly enough, when the idea was pitched and one of the members of PKA at the time, Lefty, said they wanted no part in it, Jordy called him a coward for being hesitant. While Wings occasionally portrayed himself as the most confident about the survivor show, he also seemed to be the person who cared the least about preparing. Besides buying significantly fewer supplies than his PKA partners, he also gave up on trying to learn how to make a fire and perform attempts,
Welcome to my channel.
Considered a paramount skill
I love you, Kitty.
everyone else who was going. As the date of the trip approached,
Welcome.
Jordy had more reservations than he initially let on and began ramping up, with him attempting to postpone it over ludicrous excuses, such as April being the month of his birthday, so it should be moved to May. As was expected by the more observant followers of PKA, on the day of the trip, while Kyle was driving to the motel where he would sleep the night before entering the woods, he messaged Wings to confirm his attendance, only to receive a response that he wouldn't be coming.
Alright, so I don't know, we were about 40 miles in earlier, now we are 2 miles. And I texted Wings of Redemption, and I said, I'm not gonna, pretty much verbatim, I said, hey buddy, are we still on for tomorrow? Because keep in mind it's 11 p.m. right now. We're supposed to meet at the bait shop at 8:30 a.m. So, you know, 9 hours from right now. And I also include, you know, and also do you have everything you need? Because I've got extras of a lot of things. And his response was basically, I'm not coming.
This threw a giant wrench in their plans, and so Kyle got Woody to call Wings and try to persuade him to come, but to no avail. Jordy had embraced his cowardice wholeheartedly, and there was nothing anyone could tell him to make him change his mind. He eventually rattled off excuses excuses about how, due to his obesity, he would just slow down the other two, and was worried about how dangerous the trip would be. But at the end of the day, if these concerns were genuine, he wouldn't have spent over a month boldly presenting a completely different outlook on the trip, going as far as making fun of Wings for not going. Just to be clear, despite having prepared for the trip more than Jordy, Woody and Kyle were no rugged survivalists that would be setting the bar high, and Jordy had no hope of matching their efforts. At least part of the point of the trip was that the PKA crew were in over their heads. They would have to call it sooner or later. Said and done, on the very first day of the trip, Kyle took a swim and accidentally swallowed some creek water that made him vomit for hours, putting the whole unaided surviving in the woods shtick on hold until he got better. At this point, Wings had already made a number of mistakes that realistically could have cost many other people their careers. But somehow he was still afloat. However, this time it was different. Kyle in particular took great offense at his blatant lack of camaraderie. After all, these are people with whom Jordy had been podcasting for the better part of a decade, and who considered him a relatively close friend. And he was close enough to only tell them he wouldn't be a part of the survival trip at the very last minute. Kyle considered this to be the straw that broke the camel's back, and his feelings about the situation are evident in that the first video he recorded as he made his way to the wilderness ended very abruptly and was noticeably edited because he had cut out the part where he spoke his mind about what Wings had done, presumably with a hefty helping of expletives. In a comment, he explains, "I was pretty pissed off that night, and a little right now actually, but I decided to just cut out about 2 minutes of this video and a lost video from the next morning at the hotel. What I said was appropriate at the time, but not today, and since I'm uploading it today, I cut it." Over on the PKA subreddit, Kyle explained in better detail what exactly went down, saying, "I have to say I'm done with those people. I texted him and asked him if he was good to go and had all his gear, but he replied he wasn't there. Keep in mind this is only 10 hours before he was supposed to meet us in North Carolina. He didn't give us a month's notice, 2 weeks, 1 week, or even 1 day. Hell, he didn't give any notice. I think if I hadn't texted him, he'd have simply not shown up tomorrow, which is basically what he insinuated later in our conversation. Another thing to consider is that the reason I didn't invite Syndicate is because of the drama that Wings started with him like 2 years ago. So now we're going in with 2 people instead of 3 or 4, and it's all because of him. I was absolutely disgusted when I read his excuses on Skype, and to be honest, I don't consider him a friend anymore. I'll still work with him, but I'll never rely on him or do him a favor ever again. He's the ultimate toxic friend, and that no matter how kind and generous you are to him, he's a heartbeat away from spitting in your face. He's just a bad person in this story. For Woody, on the other hand, this wasn't as big an offense, mostly because Woody had different and more serious grievances with Jordy. Specifically, another content creator named Obviously Jesus had said he would do terrible things to Woody's wife and daughter, and yet when he spoke about being depressed and suggested that a trip to Europe or a better gaming rig would help his depressive state, Wings outright gave him money despite what he had said about Woody's family. Surprisingly, this is just one of the instances where Jordy was being friendly with people who were outright antagonizing Woody. Another COD YouTuber, Thunder Toro, disliked Woody because Woody wasn't as good as he was at COD, but was way more successful. As Woody recalls, there was a video in which Toro and his friends say horrible things about Woody's son, prompting Woody to make a video response addressing what was said. Meanwhile, Wings was helping Toro out with search engine optimization, and when Woody called him out on this, Jordy replied, complaining that Woody was making him choose between Toro and him. Mind you, Toro had never helped Wings out in any way, shape, or form, while Woody had been relentlessly defending him for years, and at the time, had offered to fix Jordy's custom-made desk free of charge, all of which highlighted how backwards Wings' priorities were. All of this betrayal is added to the fact that not only had Wings been late to many PKA recordings, but he was consistently negative in some pretty nasty last editions in which he participated, which culminated in Jordy being off Todd. He hadn't just missed yet another chance to redeem his attention from the audience, he had burned one of the last in his professional life. Ever since it happened, Jordy has been consistently open about how he felt about the show. He seems to be self-aware enough to know that his fault. However, it's also clear that on some level, Wings still resents both Kyle and Woody for holding him to a standard and revealing just how unwilling to be accountable and improve his life situation he truly was. A month after the survival trip, perhaps noticing how dire his circumstances were becoming, Jordy began the Walk 365 project, vowing to vlog himself walking every day for a year, which once again breathed some semblance of life into whatever was left of his online presence that his diehard followers still cared about. Whether because they truly believe in Jordy, or because the alternative is too grim to even consider, people still held out hope that he was just having a rough time and would eventually get better. Initially, the project showed promise, and unlike his gaming content, which he had already made clear he hated doing, he seemed to genuinely enjoy making these videos and being more active outdoors. After about 2 months, he experienced a minor setback in his diet and put on 6 pounds. Fortunately, Drew, the personal trainer, re-entered the picture, offering his services pro bono out of genuine fondness for Jordy. Once again, despite his infinite supply of character flaws and shortcomings, Wings manages to be in the good graces of other people who just want to see him do well. The impromptu partnership between them turned out to be remarkably successful, with Drew's inspiration and support motivating Wings to keep pushing forward. On the topic of people being inexplicably generous to Wings, even after being kicked out of PKA as a host, he would still occasionally appear as a guest, such as in PKA 210 when he appeared together with Drew. By 2015, Wings still struggled with his more pessimistic thoughts about his online presence. When someone on the PKA subreddit suggested he make a podcast of his own since he could no longer be on PKA, he replied, "The problem is that there's no money in podcasting. I hated being on PKA toward the end of it. It was boring, was getting way too professional, and their whole idea that we had to drag the show to 4 hours every week was stupid. We would obviously run out of steam 2 hours into the podcast, and instead of ending it, we would start looking up YouTube videos or attempt prank calls. Podcasting isn't fun in the slightest bit, and the only way I go back into podcasting is money. I am at the point in my life right now where I don't know what to do with my life. I can't kick my eating addiction. I'm really unfit to do any job that requires standing, and I make around 75 cents per 1,000 views on YouTube. The hardest thing to understand is how seemingly self-conscious he is about his ineptitude at holding a regular job, yet how simultaneously unwilling he is to go through the rigmarole of making his online gigs profitable. Sure, podcasting for hours on end is definitely tiresome, but it's better than a lot of alternatives he had, and it's not like he has that many alternatives to begin with. Regardless, the content on his YouTube channel had undergone a somewhat radical transformation, focusing primarily on his workout and lifestyle content. However, the frequency of uploads decreased as he transitioned much of his online activity to Twitch, where he engaged in live streaming. In a Reddit post, Wings gave further details into how dark of a mindset he was in during this time, immediately after being kicked off PKA. "The fact I bitch and cry is because I have no outside medium to talk to. Remember Walking 365? I have people like Star and my own fans who start to berate me and make me feel like what I'm doing is good. I rarely complain nowadays. You see a post here and there, but it is generally created by the people who ask questions. I don't stream when I feel bad anymore. And what happens when I do stream? When are you going to get on PKA? Wings, how much weight have you lost? When are you going to start creating entertaining videos? I'm at a point in my life where ending it all is an attractive option, and I feel fat and worthless. And when I do vent, I get kicked in the face. I'm sorry I didn't have good parents and the amazing genes you have. You know what stinks? Watching someone else make the money you should be making because they came after you at the right time. What is even worse, watching your brainchild, which in fairness was the work of 3 people working together, have its fan base turned against you. Despite the endless conveyor belt of excuses and self-pity, Jordy still had a group of loyal followers. However, there was also another group rearing its head within his audience that followed him for entirely different reasons. Like many personalities before and long after him, Jordy had attracted a group of people exclusively interested in watching him so that they could witness his self-destruction and ultimate downfall. While some were your regular run-of-the-mill trolls with a love-hate parasocial relationship with Wings, a minority actually hated him and did their best to make him mad whenever and however they could. For instance, some trolls would make donations during his Twitch streams, hoping to provoke a rage moment that they could clip and upload to YouTube for their own amusement. Anything was fair game. For example, a passing comments about him not liking Pepsi became a running joke, as the trolls flooded him with messages that proclaimed him a Pepsi aficionado. At least that one makes sense insofar as irritating Jordy. Another of his community's staple jokes was to accuse Wings of being a vacuum parts salesman, which I can't really make heads or tails of. It also became common to imitate Wings' distorted and outdated ebonics with phrases like big ups, though one of the most effective tactics the trolls found to annoy him was to refer to him by names that weren't his. Through personal information-seeking websites online, people found that the name Richard Jordan was associated with Jordy's address, and because of that, they began referring to him as Richard. Likewise, people started calling him Samuel over an instance where Jordy's grandma misspoke during a video and called Jordy Sam on accident. Though these are seemingly insignificant ways to poke fun at him, they were mysteriously good at grinding Jordy's gears, maybe just because he knew who they were coming from. Despite how regularly he streamed and the steady stream of donations he was getting, it wasn't enough to pay the bills, let alone turn a profit, and as time passed, he continued to burn through his savings. Eventually, it got to him mentally. He stopped working out with Drew, and his bad eating habits resurfaced as powerful as ever, leading Jordy to begin 2016 at his heaviest weight ever, back up to beyond the 450 pounds he'd come down from during boot camp a couple of years prior. In his prime, he used to make over $100,000 annually before taxes, but by 2017 his Twitch income had diminished to $5,000 a month, an amount he was comfortable with, but eventually it plummeted to half of that being $2,500 a month on average at best, a far cry from the money he considered necessary for his lifestyle. While many people have to work real jobs to get to that same amount, it fell short of what Wings wanted for himself and made it difficult for him to pay for his sought-after weight loss surgery, which, if done in Mexico as he was planning, could cost him up to $8,000. Determined to raise the funds, he intensified his screening efforts, but due to his mental state deteriorating proportional to his financial stability, the instances of Jordy losing his temper and breaking down during games became increasingly frequent. Though he managed to persevere through the constant attacks from his detractors, it was at the cost of becoming a constant clip farm that would inevitably get re-uploaded by people who wanted to mock him. With this surge of cringe and rage levels from Wings, the infamous Sean Ranklin account emerged, which eventually surpassed Wings' own account in popularity, a fact which certainly frustrated and annoyed Jordy to no end. Evidence of this is that the mere mention of Sean Ranklin's name, or any variation of it in Jordy's chat, instantly earns you a ban. Nowadays, if anything of Jordy's is archived, there's a good chance the only reason it was archived was because Sean Ranklin clipped it. During this period, Wings unintentionally fostered a community of trolls who stalked him through any multiplayer games he joined, and either team killed him, or found some other way to creatively abuse him into buckling under their pressure and giving them clippable moments. This endeavor generated iconic clips like this one, where he's despairing about the money he needed for the surgery.
I really need to make this fucking money. I really wanted to get this fucking surgery, man. I wanted it so fucking bad. I just can't do it. I can't take this no more, man. All I wanted to do was, like, I was fucking lonely. I wanted to just stream and have a good time, maybe have a good game. My life.
Or this one, in which people keep trolling him by sending him incessant friend requests and then suggesting ways to prevent the notification from popping up that would never work.
Look here! Look, listen! Appearing offline does not fucking stop it. So stop giving fucking advice you know nothing about.
Eventually, another troll account surged in popularity in the wake of this era, Liquid Richard, who was solely responsible for the most successful musical renditions of Jordy's highlights, or lowlights.
If you continue to say Richard, whether you're a sub or not, I'm just going to get ready for 24 hours. I'm banning anybody trying to give me advice.
But the clips weren't the only thing being compiled. Jordy's wise words were recorded by the scribes of his short-lived subreddit, containing gems such as, "Who needs Pepsi when you can have Pepsi? I'm being accused of being fat. I'm gonna have a surgery, and I'm gonna have the hair from my nuts put on my face. My nut hair grows like wildfire." I probably do give the best handjobs in South Carolina, so I'm gonna hold that title for a very long time. I can make a girl nut just by kissing her. When she says no 3 times, that means yes. Obviously, all of this probably upset an already quite irritable Jordy, but especially in retrospect, it seems a lot of it wasn't good fun. People made fun of Jordy for things like smelling his fingers, having a history of occasionally dropping the gamer word, or his addiction to Wendy's chili and the notorious banquet meals. There were, however, more egregious offenses of Jordy's that the trolls rightfully gave him crap about, such as him nonchalantly telling someone he wished his family died in a car crash, or him saying he wouldn't consider pornography with teenagers CP, which, even after he attempted to explain it away as a shock jock statement, still looks like an awful blemish on his character. However, some trolls crossed the line when they began swatting him, an action seen as an exceptionally low blow within the general online community. While the clip fest on YouTube shattered Jordy's hopes of ever returning to YouTube in full form, the rage moment started to slow down as he got on Lexapro, and the emotional breakdowns when a game didn't go his way transformed into him just sighing in frustration, which instead frustrated the people who wanted to see him lose in a spectacular fashion. By early 2018, a debate with Keemstar takes place, and the beef briefly reignited after Jordy, during a stream, said Keem was an evil person, and if someone ever deserved to die, it would be him. Perhaps the most important aspect of this whole ordeal is when Keemstar makes an offer of $25,000 if Wings were to get a boxing ring with him. Not only was it guaranteed money up front no matter how the fight turned out, but who knows what additional revenue he stood to make off of it if the fight was well marketed. And regardless of that, it would certifiably get him the surgery he kept going on and on about. Besides, he's always held a grudge against Keemstar, and this would finally give him an opportunity opportunity to physically hurt him IRL. To be completely frank, he was obviously going to lose, considering how much lighter and faster Keemstar inevitably would be in a boxing match. But even then, it would be a
Welcome to my channel.
At this point in time, Keemstar was relatively hated, so even people who disliked Wings would easily root for him just to see Keem get decked in the face. But to the dismay of everyone, haters and fans alike, Jordy turned it down, throwing away yet another golden opportunity to improve on his public image by doing something besides sitting inside his room and playing Call of Duty all day. The audience's ire was also inflamed by his contagious excuses for delaying his surgery. Even after miraculously raising money through donations, he delayed it by changing his tune and saying he wanted to get the surgery done not in Mexico, but in America, where it would be 3 times more expensive. Notwithstanding, it was further postponed when he failed to lose the 50 pounds he had to in order for the surgery to be viable. But by April 28, 2018, he finally gets it, and shortly after, loses a whopping 70 pounds, eventually claiming he lost over 150, which is somewhat questionable at face value. Due to the fact that he never got any scale on video to show his weight, many speculated he lost less weight than he claimed to, with some going as far as saying he didn't have the surgery at all, so he could keep all the money to himself. However, judging from how he looked, it was clear he had lost some weight, but the amount was hotly discussed. After one of the most intensely negative periods of his entire life, the fact that he successfully got the surgery he always wanted was a breath of fresh air. He did engage in a bit of misdirection since he did end up getting the surgery in Mexico and kept the leftover money for himself, but despite this, many people were happy for him anyway. Coincidentally, it was around this time that Wings' Troll community began to either cannibalize themselves or become inactive as they stayed locked in after following Wings. This loss of cohesion in the Troll boot camp might have something to do with something Jordan has claimed multiple times, that he's basically extorted the biggest troll channels by paying him a percentage of what they make under threat of copyright striking them into oblivion. He said that he makes $1,500 a month on trolls, but of course, like many things Wings says, there's almost no way to confirm if this is true, and given his track record, there's a decent chance he's lying, considering he was also door dashing at this point to make ends meet. While it is sort of a bad omen that just a month after the surgery, he was already getting in calls with his trolls on Discord, especially when giving them attention of any kind makes them more active. Thankfully, this didn't change the overall trend that he was no longer giving them what they wanted on a silver platter. Besides accidentally leaking some of his personal information while browsing the car website, Jordy spent a while at a safe distance from any serious trouble. According to his Reddit history, he began taking walks again, though this time without vlogging it, and hadn't gained any weight whatsoever since the surgery while losing 2 pounds a week. But as 2020 unfolded, things took another dark turn when his grandmother, lovingly dubbed Gangsta Grandma, got diagnosed with 3 different kinds of cancer. This news dampened the otherwise good direction things were going, so much so that Jordy claimed he was planning to marry someone he'd been on and off with for the previous 6 years, which later would be revealed to be Kelly, with whom he's still together to this day. The reason they hadn't properly started a relationship yet was because she was religious and Jordy wasn't, which would create a problem in case they had children. But as the prospect of having kids became increasingly unlikely due to the health problems both parties had, that particular issue basically faded away. Yet, some worrisome aspects around this immediately arise. As per one of the streams, the Amstar website showed up in the suggested terms. After a post on PKA's subreddit brought attention to it, Jordy replied by saying, "You guys were sending hookers to my house. They told me where they came from, and I looked at the website to see how many girls were on it to get an idea of how many more I'd have to deal with." As much as I doubt that Jordy was hiring prostitutes this deep into his money issues, this is not a very good explanation. Regardless, some of Jordy's haters became obsessed with ruining his life, to the point that one of them discovered who his wife to be was through Facebook and telling them every bad thing about Jordy they could conjure, from sending the YouTube clips of Jordy going crazy and raging, to telling them he was only marrying her for money. These actions culminated in the marriage being temporarily called off, which obviously upset Wings, and sparked wide speculation that the marriage falling apart would cause him to relapse and start stress eating and be the surgery. Thankfully, Jordy and his fiancée eventually reconciled, and the wedding plans were back on track. However, once again, this brief moment of joy
Welcome to my channel.
followed and overshadowed by a meme that began circulating online, depicting the couple as if they were serial bank robbers.
Police say a man and a woman have been busy robbing businesses on the Northwest Side.
Those officers were actually on their way to yet another robbery call out on Culebra Road near Loop 1604.
Although the meme is obviously fake upon some cursory investigation, it still caused Wings real-life trouble. The sheer attention this very effective meme is attracting led people to begin once again unearthing and sharing the old PKA and gaming clips of Jordy, saying extremely offensive and insensitive things, and making disturbing comments about minors and the age of consent.
I did say the age of consent should be 12. The age of consent should be 12.
I am Nermalot. Why don't you make yourself at home?
This time around, the trolls figured out that they could one-up themselves. Instead of just besmirching his name to the people of the same community as him, or bluntly harassing him directly, they hatched the evil plan to start using his name and image to do terrible things to random people in real life, such as sending racist messages to BLM chapters near the area where Jordan lives. However, it would take a while for this plan to yield results, as in the same time period, the beloved gangsta grandma finally passes away due to complications with the cancer, which granted Jordan a grace period, as even the trolls recognized this was going to be hard on him, considering she had pretty much raised him. Later on in the same year, he was suspended from Twitch.tv, and many speculated that he had started to put back on weight. Wings also began taking Effexor along with Lexapro, which might be contributing to the hypothetical weight gain. As 2021 begins, his situation doesn't improve much. He has one particularly awful bout of streaming in which he ignites his crying wife, and fails to attend his grandmother's remembrance event in April playing Dark Souls. More evidence of his relationship struggles start to surface. Specifically, his wife's flirtatious DMs with one of Jordan's Discord files leak, and they're confirmed as real by Wings himself, who reacted to them. After this, a period of relative calm ensues, only to be once again shattered as people intensify their attacks. Wings starts having the police show up to his house multiple times on accusations that he'd been abusing his dog Bongo, or over people impersonating him on TikTok, pretending that he was a pedophile or kidnapper. Amidst this chaos, pictures of his genitalia sent years prior leak, leading to more trouble with his wife's family, and Jordy expressing his insecurity about it while streaming with his wife. It's worth noting how infinitely tolerant Kelly is of not just everything Jordy does, but also the insanely vile things that his chat says about them. I don't know if this is wholesome or if she's out to lunch to the point where she's inoculated to the abuse. In any event, despite the rocky moments, their relationship seems pretty stable, which goes a long way to keep Wings sane and operational. However, online things are a lot less peaceful. Jordy gets a series of posts made about him on the subreddit r/IamATotalPOS to further denigrate his image. Though to be fair, this is done exclusively through the employment of things he said while on public streams. As this succession of hardships continued, Wings faced yet another setback when he got banned by DoorDash, losing one of the last potential sources of conventional livelihood he had, and consequently causing him to be even more dependent on the stream of income he's often streaming. However, him no longer being a driver for DoorDash clearly didn't prevent a flurry of DoorDash deliveries from being sent to his house relentlessly, which understandably bothered his wife a lot. Around the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, Jordy had his PSN get hacked twice, and the second time this happened, the hackers demanded he join their Discord server and talk to them in order to get it back. Rarely is a lolcow milked so viciously. Jordy obliged and antics ensued, as you can probably imagine. The call with the hackers was eventually joined by Tipster, of all people, and once again Keemstar, who seems to be present in all significant moments of Jordy's life for some mysterious reason. Keemstar truly is the angel of death. Another moment happened around this time, with Jordy's longtime neighbor giving an interview online purportedly to expose what a truly horrible individual Wings was behind the cameras, as if the stuff in front of the camera wasn't enough to get people to hate him. However, Aaron, the neighbor, eventually apologized and retracted his statements in a very strange stream with Wings. Though he said he was sorry and that he was either lying in the interview or it had been highly edited to make Jordy look bad, many of the claims he made about Jordy were pretty much unexplained. One particularly egregious accusation involved Jordy having done something to his sister, but upon release of the full uncut interview, it turned out all that had taken place was that Wings had made a rude comment about his sister stinking during puberty, which is pretty fitting for a guy as tone deaf as him, but if he was a teenager when he made that comment, I think it's not a big deal. In the middle of 2022, one of the troll campaigns used Jordy's likeness to claim he was a teacher named Bernie Gores that sacrificed himself to save the lives of kids at the shooting in Uvalde. This one got so big, the New York Times wrote an article covering it. To be honest, as far as trolling goes, this is one of the best examples, as they just falsely make him out to be a hero. Feeling misunderstood and wrongly judged as a bad person over the clip material on YouTube, Jordy took to Reddit to clear the air once more. I'm tired of seeing this narrative that I'm a scum here. Did I get upset at people in video games? Yes. Did I say a lot of edgy stuff on a comedy podcast? Yes. Do any of these things make me a terrible human? No. I've never hurt anyone or broken any laws. Every chance I had a chance to help someone, I've usually taken it. There's a reason why most people's grievances with me almost all stem from Call of Duty. I'm a poor sport, so competitive, but it doesn't make you a bad person. A bad person is someone who consistently attacks people's ability to support themselves while being cheered on by the dregs of society. An army of needs that have convinced themselves that myself is the reason they're not doing anything in life. I helped mold communities and gave many major channels their start. I always wanted to highlight people who had something creative to bring to the community, even if I wasn't good at it myself. The sad reality is, I'm a fat man who's a recluse that's trapped in isolation because of taxes and work apps. I spent a lot of time needing to be medicated and wasn't, and now I'm paying the price. I'll say this one more time, so hopefully it hits home. If you were 22 years old reading this, you were 10 when I lost to Syndicate, and you were 11 when the vast majority of the edgy things I said were said. It's been 8 years since I was a PKA host. I don't think I'm a bad person, and it hurts my feelings to get this narrative. I'll let you guys be the judge of the legitimacy of this post, but, I mean, there are some reasonable points made, in my opinion. It's worth noting this post got almost 2,000 upvotes on the PKA subreddit, and as attention on Jordy spiked up again, both positive and negative, fans of PKA began asking Jordy to return to the podcast, but at the time, they had no interest in reconciling with Wings to the point of having him back on as a host. In July of the same year, Jordy reported that his videos were being falsely copyright claimed, and even though YouTube wasn't his main thing anymore, he still occasionally uploaded there, and having someone use copyright strikes to abuse your channel is one of the most annoying things that can happen to you on the platform. If you get 3 copyright strikes, it can actually jeopardize your channel's standing. Luckily for him, his channel managed to survive, and amidst these difficulties, an idea emerged. One potential path to actual redemption in the public eye. Well, either that, or the last straw that will forever seal his fate. With Keemstar's help, he was offered the opportunity by Misfits to fight another widely disliked figure, Boogie2988, for 10 grand each. After trading a few playful insults online, the time came for a fight to take place. From the moment Jordy appeared, he was already visibly more confident than Boogie, as Wings grabbed during his walkout into the ring and proceeded to pummel Boogie to a pulp, winning in the first round. As much as there are genuine reasons to dislike him, many people saw this moment as Jordy's redemption, and to be honest, I can't blame him. For a 400-pound president, man, this is the closest thing to glory. He celebrated the win by asking for a PKA reunion, and ever since then, no particularly negative event has taken place in Jordy's life, besides a kidney stone that he safely passed. And since then, he also managed to get a decent career opportunity. Keemstar has been throwing around the idea of a lolcow podcast for over a year now, but never managing to get the cast together. He's panned out for Wings of Redemption, Boogie2988, and Darkside Phil to the host, with it being a talking point on streams and podcasts for a while now.
We're trying to put together a show, that lolcow podcast that Keemstar pitched, and then Phil's like, oh no, I don't want to work with Keemstar. I don't want a $50,000 paycheck. I don't want to pay off all my debts and taxes. I'd rather be miserable. I'd rather be in the corner and cry all over myself, you know?
Shortly after his fight, the podcast was officially announced, although DSP was kicked off the roster for not responding to emails. With the show now featuring Wings, Boogie, and Tommy C, it seems like a decent opportunity for them to produce some content, both for old viewers who are rooting for their success, and trolls who would want to clip their podcasts for content to milk and post to Kiwi Farms. And with backing from Keemstar, this is a pretty promising opportunity. Let's hope that Jordy keeps up this short winning streak. I've been Turkey Tom, thanks for watching, and until next time, leave me alone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Somewhere Near podcast. We've got our friends Caleb, we've got our friends Nux Taku.
Feel mercy.
What's up? Sorry,
Welcome to my
forgot
channel.
To go live. I don't know. I mean, I was like sitting here and then I was like, oh yeah, I have to start stream. Welcome. What's up, guys? What's up? Sorry for starting so late.
It's just like crusted like fluids. Mouth didn't even open. Did you see that? He just stopped moving. It's not even talking.
Oh, I actually what is it? Who locked that in? As soon as I went back to the core game world, fuck that! Check beautiful games, 20 people can't you do it? Settings all the way to
want to get the same as an old school zombie headshot of 100, you need to kill 3.3 zombies per thing. And then guy, we're gonna assassinate him. I'm gonna assassinate him. Whoa! Watch this. I wish I could. Look at that. Was that the lamest fucking thing you've ever seen? Playing this thing in its current state is like setting up a Ferrari that's got a flat tire and the check engine light blinking. I mean, it's not quite the same train wreck level of simplified. Still, now some people have given this game personal support. These kind of issues.
No, this game is the third game in a series named after a woman who allegedly smelled quite bad. Looks like it's stinky compared to its own history. This game's a little stinky too.
Wait a minute! That was the fucking boss?
Imagine, if you will, a little 8-year-old Ethan going over to a friend's house. And when he gets there, he's told about this cool new zombie game. Alright, sounds fun. Zombies are epic. When his friend boots up this brand new game and selects the weirdly named level Ino Dar Totten, he's exposed to a brand new love of his life game, that being Call of Duty Black Ops. Now, imagine the dismay he'd feel if you traveled backwards in time, slapped the controller out of his hand, and screamed in his face about how awful Call of Duty has become in the future year of 2023. I feel as though as time goes by, a lot of game series that we all used to consider untouchable continue to just deteriorate more and more in quality. And the ones responsible for it, instead of improving on the mistakes, opt to just lock themselves in their massive Swiss bank vaults and fester in their own pride. I mean, at the end of the day, joke's on me, to be honest. I don't have a massive pile of money to sleep on tonight, just my Link body pillow. But hey, that's a story for another time. Honestly, in 2023, just imagine being a console gamer. And that's not me being one of those autistic PC master race losers who loves to share pics of their battle stages amidst the backdrop of their garbage pile filled with musty, moldy, unemployed man-child cave dwellers. My house! My God! No, bro, that's just me being practical. The PS5, bro, you're paying literally $600 to play no games. Or, no, forgive me, I'm sorry, no, please, but PS5, it got no games. Don't hope and shout Ratchet and Clank in the comments. That series hasn't been any good since 2007. The Xbox Series whatever, literally $500, and the only thing worth playing on it is Roblox. Xbox, I call that the Roblox box in my book. But nah, man, it's all good. We're getting Starfield in September. That'll make the past 3 years worth it. For sure. Jokes aside, pretty much whenever these consoles do get games on them, they're usually available and are of higher quality on PC. Like Starfield, it's coming to PC also, and will likely run and look better than its Xbox counterpart, which is probably not saying much since it is Bethesda we're talking about. But what really kills it for me with consoles is just how little diversity and uniqueness there is with the games you can play. Maybe I'm really saying that due to the fact I've been exclusively using Steam for so long as opposed to console games.
What kind of, not your physical presence, not your trash-filled room, your soul, what kind of monstrosity do you have to be?
But in my opinion, there's no way you can only play so many Call of Duty and Battlefield duplicates before you start to crave something more creative. And hey, I love a good first-person shooter. It's a fun genre, but there is just one small problem. Most of the AAA FPS games this console generation have been total bullshit. COD, Vanguard, Battlefield 2042, Cyberpunk 2077, I must say less. Sure, we have these games on Steam too, but at least we have have modders for these piss games to patch out the bugs that the developers always just ignore. And at least they're also not our only options. And that's probably the biggest reason why I could never see myself buying a console again to play, let alone switch back. Because while AAA and more mainstream game series continue to seemingly get worse and worse with only some few notable exceptions, the indie scene, which is nowhere near as prevalent on consoles, continues to grow and grow with increasing amounts of creative, somewhat more mechanically niche, and high-quality games, most of which tend to run you at cheaper prices and take up less space on your storage drive. Better experiences with less investment? Come on. You make a deal.
How about you? You think you make that deal? I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
So good, in fact, that the amount of relevant AAA games in my Steam library can be counted on 2 hands, with the rest being either indie or more niche titles, and a collection of big previous generation games, like the OG Black Ops or like New Vegas or something, for example.
Degenerates like you belong on a cross.
But at the end of the day, why exactly are so many PC users starting to fall back onto the independent game scene and ignoring most of the big titles of this generation? Could it be because many of them are contrarian hipsters who hate anything popular? I mean, maybe, I don't know. I only know like 7 of them. But they all seem cool, I guess, so maybe it could be something else. But I wanted to be sure, so I reached out to my friends of nearly 10 years now to see if that was the case, or if there truly was some deeper merit to them ditching the big budget games. And they all immediately told me to fuck off, they're playing BattleBit. Hey, you guys remember Battlefield? That famous FPS series that was good up until like whenever 2014 came out? Don't worry, it's done. From now on, it's Battlefield. Now, just in case you've brutalized, just fucking smashed in Patrick Star and took his place living under his rock and became bottom, and we don't know what the hell Battlefield is. Basically, it's like Battlefield, but if it was good again. But actually, it's still better than Battlefield. Now, this may be a bit of a low blow, but let's compare the most recent next-gen Battlefield game, say that without smirking, and compare it to this, humble little indie game. 2014 began production in 2018 under the direction of EA Dice. Had the largest staff for a DICE game in the company's history and reportedly ran upwards of $2 billion, i.e. the literal GDP of a small third-world nation, to develop, and will still, 2 years later after its original release, cost you full price $60 to buy. Greetings. Or, if you're so daring, $89.99 for an additional 4 specialists, 10 guns, and 6 vehicles. And also, of course, the epic Lost World bundle. Wow! Dude, this is so worth $30 and like 100 gigabytes of SSD space. The price of like 8 or 9 Starbucks medium lattes for fucking Fortnite skins, and for your $90 USD, your fucking gas budget for the week for 2 weeks even, 64 v 64 on 13 maps with bugs that haven't been patched since day 1. Day 1, of course, being 2 fucking years ago, by the way. This is, of course, with the additional peripherals provided to you with the purchase of our Battle Pass and microtransactions. This is apparently worth $2 billion, guys. You're literally like, this is literally the Moldova of video games. Battlefield Chisinau. That money was embezzled. It was not sunk into developing this game. And I think the ratings on Steam speak for that. And now, let's compare that to BattleBit, the game that has completely taken the FPS genre by storm in recent months. The game was officially released in June and has been in various forms of development since 2016. All of the work, by the way, being done by literally just 3 guys. You think they needed the entire Congo's infrastructure budget to make this? And brand new on Steam, this game will run you $15 for the standard edition and $20 for the supporter edition, which provides you with a whole litany of skins and cosmetics. Which I would say $5 is a fair trade for what's here. And oh wow, a 90% rating on Steam. That's pretty respectable. Okay, see, this is what I'm talking about. What kind of world do we live in where 3 guys with the budget of 4 pebbles and a shoelace can make a vastly superior game to an experienced studio with unlimited corporate backing? As I said earlier, BattleBit is pretty much Battlefield multiplayer as it was in the more classic era of the game. But being honest, there's quite a bit here that makes it arguably superior to any of the Battlefield multiplayers ever released. The core leg up being the size of the game. At a maximum, maps can support upwards of 127 v 127 27. That's a maximum of 254 players in a single match. All of their fighting spread out across large sprawling maps containing structures and objects that are fully destructible. Something which is unfortunately neglected in a lot of games, because beyond it looking and feeling nice to blow things up, it also adds an additional dimension of strategy to fights. Like, say for example you and a few buddies have a squad of bad guys pinned down in a house. Sure, you could just rush in like in a lot of games and possibly all get killed, or you could wait for a tank or helicopter to come in for support and bring the walls down on them without risking any of your lives. Or if for whatever reason support is not an option for you, maybe you could get a guy with some charges to go plant explosives on the buildings while providing him with covering fire and blowing up the building that way. And speaking of support, I absolutely love the classes and vehicles in this game. Now, as opposed to Battlefield, BattleBit is somewhat more milsim inclined, kinda like Hell Let Loose, with an actual squad mechanic being present. The head of the squad, of course, being the squad lead, a more light infantry inclined class. The squad lead is meant to be the main guy leading players into battle, being able to set markers on the map and use the recon drone to scout up ahead enemy positions. You have your standard assault trooper, the medic and engineer classes, which are self-explanatory, I'm sure, the support trooper, who's basically the heavy weapons guy, and the recon trooper, who has access to top-of-the-line sniper equipment. If you're wondering what class I prefer, by the way, flying the Little Bird. And on the off chance you ever come across a squad of guys working together and properly communicating, they can perform pretty well for their team. Communication and teamwork are things that are definitely rewarded in this game. It is pretty rare to see out in the wild though. My recommendation? Try to find some community organized matches. Honestly, I have a lot I could say about this game, but this isn't a video about BattleBit, so I'll save it for another time. But the point here is, BattleBit, I think, is a shining example of how utterly skewed the perspective of many major game studios has become. Like, throw bundles of $100 bills at massive overworked sweatshop development staff until they crank out a corporate product with a bunch of numbing color prints on the back of a box. When in reality, all you need to make a great game for millions of people to enjoy is passion and meaningful vision. Not only is it a great game, but BattleBit is honestly better than anything Battlefield has put out since its release. This game is honestly what Battlefield should look like now, not this. But enough with that, let's talk about Call of Duty. Okay guys, I gotta tell you something really fruity. I don't play COD First multiplayer. And not only that, but past Black Ops 2, in my opinion, the multiplayer has been shit. Come kill me if you don't agree. No, I've always been into COD for its story, for its quality campaigns. So when Ghosts came out and they stopped caring about the campaign, I stopped caring about COD. The only exceptions being Cold War and the Modern Warfare remakes. Those had good campaigns for the most part, but still, that's almost 10 years worth of awful games. And a lot of people agree with me there. That's not just me talking. And people still keep buying it. Hey Treyarch, have you ever thought about bringing back the dynamic branching story paths like in COD Black Ops 2? No? Oh, well here you go, sir. Here, take my $60 USD for a mediocre 4-hour story in vapid multiplayer zombies mode. Let me sprint to go grab $60 USD from my wallet for you, Treyarch. This is nothing you haven't heard people say before. Something, same lazy game made every year, blah blah blah, you know the rest. But don't worry, because Call of Duty aside, casual FPS games where you can just turn your brain off and chill can still be extremely fun to play, and innovative at that. Now, originally I was going to talk about Ravenfield here, but I actually have an entire video on my channel about Ravenfield already, so I decided to choose a different game instead. But by the way, that's not me plugging the video or anything. It's old and shit. Don't watch it. Instead, I'd like to introduce you to a humble and very unique, but still casual FPS. We're done.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go.
Verdun is the first game in the dubbed World War I trilogy, the other two games being Isanzo and Tannenberg. This is actually a trilogy of games I'd love to make a video about someday. A brief overview of Verdun will suffice for today's purposes. Originally released in 2015 and developed by independent studio Black Mill Games, Verdun is a multiplayer, semi-tactical World War I FPS game set on the Western Front. In some ways, the game can be compared to something very lax like Call of Duty. For one thing, the maps aren't too large and are best suited to a more casual style of gameplay. The movement is more on the fast-paced side of things, and while the class system is good, it's far from being the most fleshed out I've ever seen. So, what exactly makes Verdun so good? Precisely the opposite thing that makes a lot of modern COD, and for that matter a lot of modern FPS games in general, so bad or mediocre. It's unique and tries its own thing, and it stands out well for it. This is largely due to its Western Front setting. World War I, surprisingly, is a period of history that isn't given much attention in games. And usually whenever it is, it's more akin to something like Battlefield 1, where it tries to best focus on areas of the world that are less oriented around the infamous trench warfare the Great War is known for. So, while I honestly think Battlefield 1 is a good game, Verdun is more what I expect and personally want out of a World War I game. And honestly, going back to the familiar traits that Verdun shares with COD, those familiarities actually kind of make the game feel better to play. In regards to the smaller map design, that kind of is what World War I battlefields were, right? Basically just small strips of land only a few kilometers long that thousands of men would die over the course of a few hours for, with no guarantee that it'd even stay in your hands afterwards. The fast pace of the players also allows them to catch up to the front lines faster after respawning, adding to the meat grinder feel of constantly attacking and defending trenches. So yeah, while Verdun isn't necessarily the most innovative game ever made, it doesn't need to be. It goes to show you that the casual, free-to-play, less tactical formula for FPS games absolutely can be fun and fresh-feeling in the current year. All it takes is just a bit of effort and creativity and a bit of personality. Something COD has been lacking for a long time. I mean, I guess I don't blame them though. If you could crank out the same safe game every year and still make movies for it, you'd probably be doing the same thing too. My favorite genre of video game ever since I was 10 has hands down been strategy. You know, it started off with Advance Wars on the GBA, some of you may know what that is, and Dune, the Battle for Arrakis on Genesis, which none of you are gonna know what that is. And here we are now, 10 years later, with grand strategy games like Poi 4 and Stellaris being my top time wasters. Another game that I would really love to make a video about in the future, by the way. No, I don't have a problem. Now, historically, the strategy genre has always been more niche than other genres, like shooters and sports games, for example. But even still, you have your more mainstream series and big-name studios, like the Total War games and publishers like Paradox Interactive. And in recent years, I've started to have major issues with all of these more popular examples. The Total War games, I'm just gonna say it, they're basically the Call of Duties of modern strategy. Like, yeah, they're fun, don't get me wrong, but goddamn are they shallow. Diplomacy is 2D as hell. There isn't too much to do on the map itself aside from clicking on towns and moving units. And you know, you may argue Total War is, it's about the battles. You gotta love the battles. 1,000 hours in Empire, you gotta love fighting. But like, the AI has always been total shit since the series' inception, so I don't know. Personally, yeah, aside from like Empire or like Shogun 2 or Medieval 2, I'm not very interested in these series. In Paradox Interactive, aside from the massive L that was given, they make good games. They do. Stellaris is hands down one of my favorite games of all time. But, no, what is this? Look at these ludicrous prices, bro. Spend hundreds of dollars to play EU4 with soldier troop drilling. Stalin is invading Latvia. Pay 1 gazillion rubles to design the epic Soviet killing Latvian super tank. You're epic. Even Stellaris isn't immune to this. Oh, you want to join the Galactic Council? That's gonna be 2 billion sun cubes, please. Like, nah, bruh. This is not, no way. This is not heat. This is the reason piracy was invented. Don't get it twisted. I absolutely hope I'm proven wrong about this. But in recent years, I've started to see somewhat of a shift in the strategy scene towards trying to attract more casual players. One of the top comments from my Vicky 3 video actually calls the game a mobile phone tier product. And as a massive fan of the genre, it's somewhat worrying to see. But I do have some good news. There has never been a better time to be a grand strategy fan. This is a sect of the gaming sphere that has been thriving in the indie scene in recent years. And there are a lot of games that I could talk about. A lot of games I'd love to talk about. But I've narrowed it down, and there are two games in particular I really want to talk about that really strike a chord with me. The first game being an early access title called Total Conflict Resistance. Hey, you guys know that really successful, extremely fun game series, Mount & Blade? What if we made that game, but instead of a fictional feudal setting, we did a fictional modern warfare setting? That's genius! What's your name, son? Bash. My name's Bash. Now, yes, this probably sounds like a really insane and bad idea. Taking a game that plays like Mount & Blade and giving everyone tanks and automatic guns probably sounds like it wouldn't even work. I know I sure was skeptical going into it, but man, oh man, this game is fun. And to my detriment, it's hella addicting too. I've only owned the game for a couple weeks and I already have like 65 hours in it. One thing to absolutely get across though, like it says on the storefront, yeah, this is a very early access game. It's super jank. You can hardly go an hour and a half without running into some ensemble of bugs or glitches. But this game is pretty much everything I love about indie strategy games. There's not a whole lot of story to the game, the lore is certainly a work in progress. But basically, the fictional continent you play on was once a whole united empire, but has collapsed into multiple large nations and rebel groups, with many of the western nations of the continent being democratic and the eastern nations being communist dictatorships, with the ultimate goal of the game being to unite the continent like it was many years ago. But you don't have to if you don't want to. All things considered, I'd argue that Total Conflict is 75% a resource management game and 25% a military game. So it's lucky that the resource management mechanics in this game, for the most part, are extremely fun to use. The countries in this game are divided up into regions, and within the regions are a single big capital city and several smaller towns. Each smaller town being proficient in producing a natural resource randomly selected at the start of each. And in your towns, you can build things like bakeries and quarries, and in the cities, you can build refineries and factories, both civilian and military. And the cool thing about the resources being randomized at the start of the game is that, of course, you could get lucky and have enough of everything to be self-sufficient, but more likely than not, something is going to be missing from the game. It may be something relatively unimportant for the early game, like gold ore, which is used in things like tanks and advanced agencies. But if it's something like oil, copper, or aluminum, or God forbid, iron, then the only two options you'll have to reliably produce even things as small as bullets and rifles or refined gas is either A, import the resources or the products themselves, or B, invade a country and take over a region without their resources. So this RPG creates scarcity that can only be handled by making smart trade deals or starting war, which is to say nothing things like tobacco or beer or local police forces, which you need to keep the population happy, or else they'll revolt and suck out your cities. Whichever route you take though, be sure to strategize very well, because your resources can be very especially your manpower, which is slow to replenish. Speaking of manpower, how exactly do battles in Total Conflict work? Bannerlord with guns? No way. No way. No way this can be good. No, it's good. It's pretty good. Now, battles can be quite janky. There certainly is a lot more balancing that needs to be done. But generally speaking, battles do feel very good to fight in. If you've ever played Mount & Blade, you already know how commanding troops functions. You press your F keys to navigate through a bunch of options related to attacking, retreating, setting formation and stance, etc., etc. The fun, however, comes through just how many options are available in designing your army. Because yes, you can decide what weapons and uniforms your infantry use, and you can decide what vehicles your motorized forces will prioritize and use first before all others you have stockpiled, which leads to a satisfying level of uniformity and allows for you to design an entire military around your preferred playstyle. If you want to go for a more offensive doctrine, you can give most of your soldiers automatic battle rifles and your motorized main battle like the 270 and rocket artillery systems. Or if you want to play more defensively, you can equip your infantry with semi-automatic rifles and RPGs and mobile artillery and tanks like the S.W.Frost. And listen, even if it doesn't impact the gameplay, any game that allows you to customize the look of your soldiers and police is a good game in my book. Whatever you do though, don't attack a city with only infantry. Your army will get fucking destroyed. In summary though, I genuinely believe Dual Conflict is a great game and is a shining example of everything I love about much of the indie strategy scene. This is a game that is taking a lot of risks and is doing a lot of unique new things that many bigger developers would probably be somewhat wary to ever even attempt. And honestly, this game's pulling it off. Now, just imagine if you had the budget of a big release like Total War Pharaoh or Victoria. I'm very eager to see what's next. There is, however, one more game I want to talk about, and it's the type of game you could only ever expect from an independent developer, as a lot of the game is largely going to be just you staring at the screen and observing. And that game is Worldbox God Simulator. To give a bit of context as to how I found this game, I gotta give you guys a little bit of info about myself. Basically, I am a huge fan of world building, coming up with fictional countries and societies with their own fictional peoples and groups, and creating languages, history, conflicts, and politics. And I've been into this since middle school. And this sort of history creation is quite common in books and with pen and paper projects, but actual in-depth history creation games are very rare. And for years, I didn't know of the existence of even a single game of this caliber. That wasn't until a Dungeons & Dragons friend of mine who knew I was super into this kind of stuff recommended this game, and I instantly fell in love with it. The basic premise of this game is that you're a god, given a world that you can physically build up and create terrain in, and of course place living things within, like wolves, bears, cattle, and also 4 intelligent races, humans, elves, orcs, and dwarves. And you can choose to be as benign, benevolent, or malevolent as you desire, creating things like natural disasters, crashing meteorites into the planet, or literally fucking nuking everything around. Personally, I'm more in it for watching the history of the intelligent races as a whole, so I tend to play more benign, unless I want a specific civilization to be better over another. But what's so great about this game is that you can optionally customize everything about the peoples and nations that are formed in this game. What the cultures are called, what the cities are named, what their flags look like, what their nobility are named, incite wars and inspire alliances, inspire revolutions and rebellions. This is a game that, if I had access to in middle school or high school, I probably would have sunk hundreds of hours into. There's just something so satisfying about seeing some random Stone Age clan advance into a Bronze Age kingdom that gradually takes over neighboring cities, eventually turning into a massive empire that goes on to conquer an entire continent, thriving for hundreds of years and assimilating the cultures within, only to finally watch it collapse into civil war and revolution after something devastating like a famine or plague, or people within it just being super pissed off at the ruling tree. If you're a massive fan of things like world building and
Olivia,
settings,
welcome to my channel.
I recommend this game enough. It's very affordable and it is still getting updates that bring awesome new features that keep feeling fresh and new. And come on, who doesn't love good sprite work? And this is honestly just what I love so much about the indie space. Whatever sort of niche you belong to, however specific and pedantic your wants are in a video game, if you dig deep enough, there's probably something out there that you can explore. A game that seems made just. So I realized that this video came off more like a rant or opinion piece than an expose or some grand, thought-provoking critique, but I hope I still managed to get the point across. A lot of modern big games are just so poorly made and uninspired and so derivative and copy-paste of one another, and yet they demand a lot from their user bases, like AAA prices, a large version of their developers, and constantly exposing DLC, microtransactions, and season passes to add to your expenditures. And I think that's why a lot of people are looking more and more to the independent space. Because unlike these big studios, indie devs actually seem to care about what they put out for their fans to buy with their hard-earned dimes. And with how fresh and creative many of these smaller games are becoming, it's no wonder why many people are starting to ditch these once all-powerful titans. They're not worth buying from them, and they don't seem to care about fixing their games. And quite frankly, if they don't care, then why should we?
SS Snipewolf is one of the biggest creators on the internet. Her videos constantly feature on YouTube's front page, and millions consume her content daily. Her YouTube journey spans more than a decade, winning multiple awards and becoming one of YouTube's favourite creators. However, behind the seemingly innocent facade are years of controversy that have forced her into social isolation. The Snipewolf story is a turbulent tale. It's been well documented and told many times. So, how does she continue to thrive when her existence is a total lie?
Imagine working so hard on something, like putting your whole life, devoting your whole life to it, and people just shoot you down saying, no, it's not yours, you didn't do that. They don't give you the credit for it.
What happened to the boosted Overwatch player? It's all just vanished into like bland BuzzFeed-style fluff pieces.
She hasn't tried to better herself over all of these years.
If she didn't criticize other women relentlessly for doing these things, I don't think anyone would care that she does.
Yeah, yo, chill. Why should I care if someone is lying to hundreds of thousands of subscribers? I should just focus on myself, and I will.
So she's going out her way to remove all these videos by me, basically just to cover up the truth.
It really hurts my image and how other people perceive me. I'm the bad guy, of course, of course.
I'm gonna show everybody in the world that you're a liar.
I'm a big nerd, actually. Like, I play video games all day. I play Metal Gear, Call of Duty, like, literally all day. Like, at least 6 hours a day.
The SS Snipewolf brand was born in January 2013. Leah's early content was deeply rooted in the gaming world. Black Ops 2 gameplay and commentaries were a common sight, but she also created videos about Metal Gear Solid, which inspired her channel's namesake. However, SS Snipewolf was not the first attempt at creating an online brand. What came before has seemingly been erased from history, but, as we'll know, nothing is ever truly lost. Sexy Snipewolf is a name that's been gone for more than a decade. It was the precursor to SS Sniping, SS, a tribute to her early exploits and her education of political affiliation in this group. I hope. From the few archived videos that still exist, it's clear there was a more adult side to her content.
Honestly, it made me squirt so hard I thought I was coming. Wait, what? Moving on.
Most of these archived videos are from the end of 2012, and their target audience is very clear. But the Sexy era began in 2010, and those have built a poor reputation within certain communities. Fellow creators often demean her character, and she wasn't shy to respond. These tweets are still public, and are an interesting insight into her behaviour more than a decade ago.
Good lord, who is this beautiful, semi-glass nerdy but hot girl? What is your name?
I'm Leah.
Yeah, you look pretty young. You look, I'm gonna guess, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna guess your age, your height, and your weight. 23?
No.
Younger or older?
A lot younger.
I really messed that up.
Legal.
You're not, are you legal?
Yeah.
She's 18, 19.
Yeah.
I'm already gonna get arrested. There's guys who look like they kick the shit out of me.
This interview is very uncomfortable to listen to. A 19-year-old Leah was attending her first San Diego Comic-Con, and this guy from the Girls and Corpses magazine was asking some very suspect questions. However, this interaction establishes the credibility of Leah's earlier YouTube career.
Do you have a website or anything?
I have a YouTube. It's Sexy Sniper. I have like gameplay and stuff, and I do vlogs.
The Sexy Sniper channel saw Leah command at least 30,000 subscribers before she switched to Sniper Wolf. Her transition was almost like for like, and she continued growing her online presence.
Holy shit, no!
She also sold prints of her cosplays on a very primitive marketplace website. She may have dropped the sexy from her name, but that didn't change her demographics.
I don't think that was the answer everyone was looking for.
She marketed herself as a gamer, when it was still uncommon for women to be seen as gamers. As the self-described COD goddess, the quality of the gameplay in her commentaries caught the attention of many, as did her looks, ending the year with more than 200,000 subscribers. However, she didn't do this without a helping hand, and towards the end of 2013, she targeted her direct competition, which proved to be a catalyst for her career's growth.
What's up, Drummer Nation? I'm your host, Killer Pizza. Let's get right into the news. Ladies and gentlemen, is the catfight of the COD community upon us?
Leah's first major controversy under the Sniper brand saw her expose someone she had supposedly known for some time. Girl Gone Gamer was another YouTuber with very similar content to Leah, but with a much larger slice of the Girl Gamer market.
As you guys have seen on my videos, I get literally like 10 comments in a video asking me 1v1 Girl Gone Gamer. I decided to make this video today because she actually unfollowed me off Twitter and blocked me because I asked her to 1v1.
Ray's rejection of Leah's challenge, blocking her on Twitter, resulted in Leah aiming for the authenticity of Ray's channel.
She doesn't actually get her gameplays, and there have been hundreds of comments on my videos about how she's not the one playing. Thousands of her subscribers asked her to do a live commentary. Well, because she's a gamer, isn't she? Hence, Girl Gone Gamer. And after 400,000, she hasn't even done a live commentary? People told me that I was fake and I wasn't the one getting my gameplays. My mic was broken at the time, and you know what I did? I went out and got a headset and a camera, and I did several live commentaries for you guys. And she ended up doing a live commentary finally, after like 400k, which me and a lot of people knew obviously was fake.
Leah positioned herself as the real gamer, providing those who watched the video an alternative to Raya. For most, there was no reason to dispute her charges. The transition from one girl gamer to another was effortless.
Hey guys, what's up? First of all, I wanted to thank all of you guys for helping me hit 50k subscribers. Crazy. Thank you. So yesterday I posted a video called The Truth About Girl Gone Gamer, which actually got a lot more attention than I would have ever thought, and it seems to cause a war between the fanboys.
Most of Leah's evidence was based on her testimony and speculative opinion. However, the way she presented her arguments was convincing enough for most people to give her the benefit of the doubt. 10 days after the two videos about Girl Gone Gamer, she had grown from 48,000 subscribers to just under 73,000. 2 weeks later, she surpassed 100,000, doubling the size of her audience. Raya's lack of response also helped. To this day, there is still no clear proof that the gameplay wasn't hers. Since then, both creators have had very divergent careers. Sniper Wolf is one of the biggest YouTube creators, with tens of millions of followers and frequent appearances on the curated trending section. Raya took a slightly different path, and is now a sex and relationship educator with a sex education podcast on Spotify.
That's it for the news today. Drum Alert Nation now over 12,000 subscribers.
The Sniper Wolf train had left the station, and 200,000 subscribers in the first year is a commendable achievement. Her takedown of arguably her only competition opened the floodgates for growth, and she took the opportunity with both hands. However, as frequently documented, young people who gain a large platform within a short time usually exhibit behavioral issues that cause problems. Leah was no different. In late 2013, she crossed an individual who would be a persistent irritation over the coming years.
She was making fun of her fans. What a shameful, despicable human being you are.
Enigmahood was a very peculiar individual. He's someone who, under normal circumstances, would be seen as a degenerate who should be ignored. Leah's actions inevitably led to her looking rather silly, but their feud began a year earlier when Enigmahood responded to one of Leah's sexy sniper videos.
Hey guys, it's Enigma. And today I want to talk about this YouTuber. She goes by the name Sexy Sniper. But her name is Leah. You know, she makes mostly stupid videos, talking about absolutely nothing, but the real draw to her channel are her boobs. Just recently, she made a video that really annoyed me, that really pissed me off, because she was essentially insulting her fans.
Enigmahood provides commentary about what she says using clips from her video, which was arguably fair use of the content. However, she didn't see it this way, and decided the best action was filing an DMCA takeover.
SS Sniper Wolf, aka Sexy Sniper, or whatever the hell she wants to call herself, has censored one of my videos. She has filed a false DMCA against my video, which was criticizing her video, Facebook Creepers.
Sniper Wolf was copyright striking people before it was popular, and Enigmahood's video was genuine criticism of her comments, so taking it down was an attempt to suppress it. Why she did so was unknown. The only reason I can conceive is her trying to distance the Selfridge brand from her previous content, protecting her image. However, he filed a valid counter notice that Leah did not protest, restoring the video. In response, Enigmahood went on the offensive.
You fucking Indian bitch. How dare you disrespect at SS Sniper Wolf, you Well, that's a mouthful. SS Sniper Wolf has filed a second DMCA against my video, SS Sniper Wolf is a racist. So she maliciously filed this DMCA for the sole purpose of trying to censor me.
His efforts ultimately produced a reaction, and Leah decided to talk about him in a video, describing him as a nameless hater.
Today's hater spotlight is on this guy who has dedicated countless hours to making videos on every little thing. He pretty much wears nothing but a hoodie, puts a hood over his face, and makes vlogs crying about every little thing he doesn't like. He made a video using my content. He re-uploaded my video and essentially just insulted me over it. And I really don't like people using my content without permission, especially if it's in a positive way. If it's in a positive way and you ask me first, it's fine, go for it. So I reported his video on YouTube for copyright, and he made another button video saying I filed a false copyright claim and that he was entitled to use my content. One of my subscribers tweeted him, insulting him, and I guess I had something racist in it. And he thought I favorited it. When I went back and looked up the tweet, I had never favorited it. I'm not sure what happened right there, and I don't know why.
As with most Sniper Wolf story times, there's a long monologue and very little evidence to support her anecdotes. At the time, I'm sure those watching didn't care too much about what she was saying, but in reflection, it does raise some concerns about her character, more so the accuracy of her story and credibility as narrator. Her framing of Enigmahood's video she tried to take down was insincere. It was much more than re-uploading her content. She also feigned ignorance towards liking a comment that included an obscene array of derogatory language, despite Enigmahood's screenshot of her doing so. Then she mocked Enigmahood's intention to seek legal advice.
This guy wants to sue me over the internet, and that's just a supreme level of butthurt. You want to sue someone over the internet that you stalk and harass and just talk shit to and make a bunch of videos about. I'm sure that would go very well on your behalf.
The fact Leah gave Enigmahood any sort of attention was peculiar in itself, but it would be wrong to consider Enigmahood a martyr because some of his comments are completely unhinged. This was a time when she was riding on the coattails of the destruction of one of her biggest competitors. Why she saw the need to respond to a literal nobody and open herself up to scrutiny is confusing, but she did show her hand, which would eventually come back to bite her. 2014 through 2015 was seemingly straightforward, eventually surpassing 1 million subscribers in 2015 and gaining another million within the same year. She was expanding and rising the ranks of YouTube's gaming community, but her content also changed.
You didn't guess it! You
I knew what they were.
No, you
Yes, I
didn't.
did.
You didn't. You would
I
have
knew.
guessed something.
I felt the boob line. Put it like right here. Felt the boob line.
It wasn't until 2016 that she faced significant scrutiny. Coincidentally, the time commentary gained relevance. In June 2016, a 15-year-old creator named Herotic uploaded a video titled SS Snipewolf, the Manipulator, wherein he discusses the trend of Leah breaking up with Sausage, suggesting that they were doing it for views. Herotic claimed there was proof they were married, revealing public records showing how they purchased their house as husband and wife. His opinion was based on this information. 2 days later, he released another video.
Well, SS Snipewolf saw Scarce's video where he reported on my video, and she threatened to sue Scarce. You've got to delete your video because SS Snipewolf will probably take down your video and probably get you a strike on the channel. Now obviously my video is still up, so it seems like SS Snipewolf hasn't really taken any action against my video.
After threatening to sue Scarce, indicating her intent to take down Herotic's video, 2 weeks had passed.
I said I'd drop it. I said I'd completely finished the whole thing. I said, you know, basically I said, Snipewolf, you win this. You win. Alright? You've gotten away. But then she had the audacity to then strike my video. Block it worldwide.
Leah was true to her word, using her network full screen to block the video worldwide.
I apparently used a copyrighted image as a thumbnail, and the photographer wasn't happy with that. The photographer got paid to take the photo. So I don't exactly see why the photographer will be angry with anyone using the photo. Surely it would be Snipewolf herself who would be angry.
The copyright claim was valid because the thumbnail is her material. However, she intended to suppress the video. She admitted this in conversations with Scarce. Her complaints about privacy and suggesting that Herotic incited harassment towards her points to another possible route she took. She may have moved to block the video because she had originally filed a privacy complaint. Maybe that was rejected. Regardless, she took down a video criticizing her because she didn't like it, not because of copyright infringement. She was threatening litigation against other, smaller creators.
The fact that a grown man went to an actual lawyer to cry about his internet issues is not hilarious.
Following her tussle with Herotic, she was immediately in drama with someone else. SS Snipewolf had become a very popular topic on the other side of the internet, prompting Leah to contact the hub to remove all videos using her brand for views. She released a video stating this, and reiterated that she had never participated in the sex work industry.
That is not me. It is a girl called Khalida. She's a cam girl. I'll admit, we do look alike, but there are a lot of differences. She used to have a Twitter, but she actually deleted it after people started finding her videos and thought it was me. I know this is getting her videos more views, and she's making more money off of it because people think it's me and people are watching her videos. So I think she's just playing it off as she is as a Sniper Wolf impersonator because she's getting money.
After targeting this girl, suggesting that she was purposefully capitalizing on Leah's brand, she confusingly switches her tone, stating that the girl wasn't uploading these videos.
I mean, she can do whatever she wants. She's not advertising it as a Sniper Wolf porn, but people are re-uploading her videos, titling it as a Sniper Wolf porno.
Leah claims there was no way to contact the girl because she had deleted her Twitter account. However, another creator named Suppose could contact her on Twitter. Unsurprisingly, she wasn't thrilled with her portrayal. So not only was she the target of Leah's frustration, she wasn't even impersonating her whatsoever. This could have easily been fixed. Leah could have clarified the situation in her video, or take it down altogether. She chose neither options, and a week later, she attacked the girl she wrongfully accused and misrepresented.
The reason I'm making this video is because this girl is like Taylor Swift level snake. Bitch. She is playing the victim harder than Keemstar is, and it is in the worst possible way. Her job is literally sitting in front of a camera for like an hour, couple hours a day, playing with yourself. That is literally their job. Seriously. Girl, the only medical bills you are paying is for that nose, the lips, the tits, and the ass. You say I'm not confident with my body, but I didn't have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to look like this.
She's putting herself on a pedestal. She is much more valuable and successful because she doesn't need to use her body for views, although others will disagree. The general issue here is how dishonest she is. Erotic pointing out the hypocrisy of her comments, considering their recent altercation.
She found the video and she was really upset with it, saying that I slandered her, defamed her, used her pictures without permission, talked about her in my video without permission, and threatened to take down the video, strike my channel, sue me. What are you gonna do? Nothing.
But wait a minute, didn't Snipewolf do that to me? Didn't she threaten to take legal action? Didn't she attempt to take down my video? Which, by the way, if you're watching, well done, you succeeded with that.
The middle of 2016 was shaping up to be a pretty busy year for Leah. She needed a win, so she turned back the clock and decided to engage with someone who had disappeared into the abyss of irrelevancy.
What's up, guys? Today we are doing a different kind of video, but it's super exciting because I've been wanting to do this for a while now. I don't know why I've never done it before. I actually can't wait to do this video. He's been stalking me for the past 2 years or so, maybe more, almost 3 years. I have him blocked on everything, but he still continues to watch my videos, stalk me, and make response videos talking shit about me. He's a little obsessed.
This video stinks of retribution. There's a clear goal that isn't exactly something. Enigma's incessant brigading of Leah was enough to get under her skin, despite most of the videos he made getting very little attention. She wanted to hit him hard, and she set herself up for the eventual kill shot.
A couple years ago, he re-uploaded one of my videos, and you can't just take somebody else's content and re-upload it and monetize it. So I filed the copyright claim when he was trying to take it down. And in the copyright process, I got his real name, and of course I googled his name, and it turns out he is a registered sex offender. He's 30-something years old, lives with his parents still, makes YouTube videos with a hood on. Now you know what kind of person this guy is.
It's a pretty loaded video. She admits to using the copyright system to take down Enigma's video back in 2013, receiving his personal information as a result of him successfully appealing it. Also an admission that she was indeed sexy sniper. She supposedly used that information to look him up, where she supposedly stumbled across his status on the registry.
So S.S. Sniper Wolf has decided to slander my name by accusing me of being a sex offender. You are not allowed to accuse someone of a criminal offense and then paint them as a criminal, as a sex offender. One of the most odious and repugnant crimes in the world.
Enigmahood is a degenerate. That's a fact. I have no issue with her dunking on him for the outlandish statements and deranged videos he has made on certain topics. However, somehow lowering herself below him is a truly remarkable feat. Despite showing how much of a freak he is, it doesn't take away from the fact that she was wrong. She misused the copyright system, using the information gathered from Enigma's appeal for unjustifiable reasons. She comes across as vindictive. Her comments broadcast millions of very social. It's hard to defend Enigmahood, but it's Leah's fault for victimizing him in this scenario.
I am seriously considering to sue.
Enigmahood eventually filed a defamation lawsuit against Leah, Sausage, her network, and Google in 2017. The case was put before a judge where all the named defendants filed a motion to dismiss. Google and Fullscreen were dismissed with ease because Google can't be held liable for defamatory comments made on their platforms, and there was no allegation made against Fullscreen. However, to reject Leah and Sausage's motion to dismiss, Enigmahood had to satisfy a three-pronged effects test and test the motion to dismiss based on their lack of personal jurisdiction. He succeeded in the first two. Leah had intentionally defamed him, and New Jersey was where he suffered most of the harm from doing so. However, he also had to prove that Leah had specifically targeted his home state. He couldn't do that. There was no proof that Leah's comments reached anyone in New Jersey, nor could he prove that her comments affected anyone other than himself. Despite the general reach of Leah's audience, he couldn't connect them to the state, so the case was dismissed without prejudice. He could try again if he wanted. He never did, and her video is still up to this day. Not so soon after her video about Enigmahood, another degenerate, for other reasons, decided to release a video documenting the history of S.S. Sniper Wolf. The terminal grave robber Michael McCrudden decided it was time for Leah to get her own before they were famous, and documented the early shenanigans of Leah's YouTube career. However, according to Leah, this depiction of her was wrong, and she wasn't so happy about how she was portrayed. She saw this as another opportunity for content and decided to release her reaction.
Before her YouTube videos, Touch My Body Challenge, Show Me Your Tits, and she
Oh, you skipped the actual gameplay though.
would clock in millions of views.
I already know he's gonna use just the most sexual pictures possible because views and money.
Before Sniper Wolf would collaborate with Rice Gum, Face Adapt, Face Censor, and would get talked about by the YouTube.
Why does he make it seem like that I collabed with people to get bigger? That's what Sausage said when he watched this video. He was like, he made it seem like, oh, we should collab with whoever just to get bigger. I rarely ever collab with people. The only people I collab with are people I'm friends with. I'm not like the type of YouTuber that just collabs with anybody I can. I had more subscribers than Rice Gum, Adapt, and Censor when I collabed with them. This guy is throwing mad shade already. Just like Dan said, I think personally, I don't know, I've never met this guy before.
It didn't take long for McFadden's comments to irritate her, particularly the references to Cameron's own videos being sexually suggestive. She was offended that her success was attributed to her appearance rather than the substance of her content. She demands that people view her how she wants. She hates criticism. This becomes evidence as the video progresses.
Why is this relevant? You don't make a video before they were famous about suicide and again, why is this weird? This is supposed to be about my childhood, growing up, how I was in school to be a pharmacist before YouTube, how I started running my own business when I was 14 to help my parents pay bills. But yet you have the biggest hater instead, you know, because I'm
Sniper Wolf has decided to slander my name.
It's not slander, it's true. Why does he keep talking about him? It has nothing to do with the video.
Her disbelief that the Enigmahood situation would be a part of her history further highlights her warped perception. If she had not released a video titled My Biggest Hater, cementing Enigmahood's role in her YouTube career, McFadden wouldn't have included it. The fact she's annoyed that drama is a part of her history is common. Not only had she been consumed in drama for the past 3 months, but a big break also came from drama she instigated at Girl Gaming.
When she was focusing on her studies, she was also getting involved with sexually self. And while she was pumping out these turbo sexy videos, she was also working at Hollister Golden Globes. So you can understand the girl wanted to get her like.
I started off YouTube uploading just COD videos, not sexy videos. This is how I started out my channel. These are my videos 3 years ago. It was almost all gameplay, mostly Rising and Black Ops 2.
There is too much evidence of Leah's previous exploits as Sexy Sniper for her to deny its existence completely. Her admission of taking down Enigmahood's video in 2013 is more than enough proof beyond the many archives of her previous content. She's unironically gaslighting everyone into believing otherwise. McFadden was right, and described her earlier content accurately. However, what she doesn't include in her reaction is the part where he talks about the fact she started as Sexy Sniper.
When she wasn't focusing on her studies, she was also getting involved in the world of cosplay and on YouTube with her original channel titled Sexy Sniper. Sexy Sniper, that's what I meant to say.
I have a YouTube. It's Sexy Sniper.
Getting a channel off the ground and building a following takes a shit ton of work. And I've learned myself from my bios of porn stars, sex certainly sells. And while she was pumping out these turbo sexy videos, she was also working at Hollister folding clothes. So you can understand the girl wanted to get her like.
I started off YouTube uploading just COD videos, not sexy videos. This is how I started out my channel. These are my videos 3 years ago. It was almost all gameplay, mostly Rising and Black Ops 2.
It appeared as if McFadden incorrectly described her earlier content, but with the power of editing, she cut it that way to change his meaning. But the next part sets her off completely.
One game player certainly took an interest in her, a Call of Duty stud who went by the name Remembrance.
What? Why is he trying to make it seem like Sausage is this Extremembrance guy? If you go on Twitter and search Extremembrance, it's this guy called Ricardo and he was on.
Not ready yet.
Why is he trying to make it seem like Sausage is this guy?
But we all know and love him today as Mr. Sausage.
But it's not even him! How can you be so wrong in this video?
There are no YouTube videos out there of people calling this parallel, using his gaming skills and her massive skills to team up and make the ultimate gaming cheat.
Oh my god! He is really gonna throw that out there.
savvy business move.
Saying my YouTube channel is a business between me and Sausage, and I met Sausage after I started YouTube. After I was super good at Black Ops 2, uploaded a bunch of gameplay. Then he messaged me on YouTube, and then we met up. This doesn't make sense. He's just trying to attack me.
I used to think the claims of her faking her gameplay had no substance, so I ignored most of that conjecture in my original video. But I looked much deeper this time. McCrudden was on the cusp of a treasure trove of internet news. However, the depths of his ability and the scope of his content ultimately left him with a space, and his defense was loaded enough to be accepted. Her internet history is well hidden, but as we've seen, there are plenty of archives. You just need to know where to look. So let me entertain this theory that Sausage was behind her earlier content. Leah suggests that Sausage could not be this ex-Remembrance person based on a Twitter account with the same username. Coincidentally, the account had retweeted some Metal Gear Online tweets. She also stated that she met Sausage after starting YouTube and uploading good Black Ops 2 gameplay. However, 2 years prior, she says something different.
And I started out uploading Black Ops 2 videos, and in February, Metal Gear Rising came out. Well, I got the game early, so I finished it in a day, and the next day, I ran it again and got a ton of videos ready. I uploaded a bunch of Rising videos, like all the boss fights, and they kind of blew up. Like, I got a bunch of views over the next videos, and they, like, gave my channel.
It's plausible that this is just a memory thing, but we will return to that video soon. The Sausage theory originates after Leah had criticized Girl Gone Gamer. An archived IGN blog from the time outlines the reasons why her takedown was a case of hypocrisy. There's also a thread of tweets with the same information, wherein someone named XREM1217 is announcing a secret partnership with another channel. In 2008, X-Remembrance was a very active user on the GameFAQs Metal Gear Online board, known as Itachi Shadow on the website. Rem was quite the character. He was active in this community and often engaged in banter with fellow players. There's some existing YouTube videos with him featured. He was also quite the troll. He managed to stir up some drama because he tricked a bunch of dudes into believing he was a girl. He broke the news that he was not. It was a joke many fell for. In this thread, he also reveals some very interesting information. He was bemused about how many people he fooled, as he had posted his full name on an MGO Clan's website. That name? Evan John Young.
But it's not even him! How can you be so wrong in this video?
Ricardo and Evan are clearly not the same name, but to eliminate any coincidences, we have more to explore. Within the IGN expose are AOL instant messages between X-Remembrance 1217 and a girl named Aura posted on Instagram. Leah is name dropped, as the discussion revolves around credit, presumably for gameplay. But is this person the same as X-Remembrance? Well, yes, according to Evan himself on GameFAQs. That is now 2 points of evidence confirming that Sausage is X-Remembrance. Another piece is a description of a video posted by XREM1217 on YouTube, which suggests he was providing someone with gameplay. He also suggests he did the same thing with Leah in his comments. As well as this, Itachi Shadow also claims to hail from New York. This is what Leah said in her video discussing how she met Sausage.
Like from 10 at night to 6 in the morning, and because of time zones, it was like 2-3 hours ahead. So his sleep schedule was beyond messed up. He would talk to me all night and go to sleep at like 9 in the morning and wake up at 5 in the afternoon.
The only way this could be the case was if Sausage lived in the Eastern time zone. New York is in that time zone. I don't know about you, but all of this points towards the same thing. Finally, just to eliminate any doubt, the account XREM1217, presumably a new account for Itachi Shadow, was last active on January 19, 2013, the day SS Sniper Wolf was created.
Coincidence? I think not!
I don't even know how to speculate an alternate theory. She's lying. She's a fraud. What makes it worse is that she accused Girl Gone Gamer of doing the same thing, yet all the information points to her doing it too. McCrudden doesn't even mention how she blew up from the Girl Gone Gamer drama. He credited her gameplay.
I feel like everything bad about my reputation is based on lies that other people have made up. Imagine if people made up lies about you and they attack you based on those lies and they don't know the real you. I feel like I'm not explaining that too good. I just feel like this video was very badly done. It wasn't even before they were famous. A lot of it took place while I was doing YouTube, and a lot of it revolved around drama. Why is this video so revolved around drama and lies about me? I guess drama and controversy and, like you said, sex sells.
The foundations of her entire career are built on lies and deception, and her behavior reflects that of someone who knows they don't deserve the credit they were so often given. Taking credit for her ability is something she is adamant about. So when someone accused her of not being as good as she says she was, the response would be interesting. In February 2017, SylvieBot triggered one.
I am in no way saying that she is bad at Overwatch. I am just showing proof regarding her lies throughout her top 500 video. She's not terrible, she just didn't get the top 500 as a DPS and tank main by herself. And the only reason I looked into this was because YouTube would not stop recommending me her top 500 video. After watching it, I was impressed. I thought, damn, she's actually really good at Overwatch. All I knew about her playing Overwatch was just that she only played Reaper and DPS. But then I decided to look into it because of all the shit I found out about her in the past when using her as an example for my first video. She's still human, but I just can't stand that she's blatantly lying in her top 500 video. And so many people are falling for it. There's a huge number of reasons why she gets so much criticism.
SylvieBot's video essentially argued that Leah was dishonest about how she made the top 500 in Overwatch Season 3, based on Leah's in-game stats and various stream VODs she had access to. Leah indirectly responded in the pinned comment of her top 500 video. She refutes SylvieBot's critiques, suggesting that her intentions were motivated by views and money. Fullscreen also attempted to take down SylvieBot's video. A few days later, Sylvie uploaded a response that refuted Leah's reply. Leah responded very similar to how she did with Enigmahood in 2013. Without naming SylvieBot, she extensively defends herself against the critiques without actually clarifying any of the conjecture. Her friend, Digital Next, provided a plausible response that SylvieBot conceded on, whereas Leah was arguing with people in her replies. Leah also edited her comment after Sylvie's response, and a most recent iteration unsurprisingly lies about what Sylvie says, despite trying to suggest that Sylvie was lying.
But then I decided to look into it because of all the shit I found out about her in the past when using her as an example for my first video, which, by the way, before making that video, I didn't know anything about her and had never watched any of her videos.
This was a particular drama, rather than general outrage because it was Sniper Wolf. No one outside the Overwatch community would have noticed Sylvie's critiques, but Leah's response caught the attention and popularized her video. 2017 was also a massive year for drama content on YouTube. Jake Paul's Team 10 and FaZe Banks' Clout House were at war with one another, generating hundreds of millions of views. Rice Gum had fully capitalized on the diss track trend, and everyone was seemingly on the hunt for the next big drama. Leah seemed in the spirit too, deciding to drop names during the stream and make comments all too familiar with her attitude towards other women.
You know, it's like, if you're not, like, he's boosting her, like, on YouTube. Like, just putting her in everything. I know, he better, no, but I think she's dating his friend. Yeah, her roommate. She's just like, I'ma just fuck everybody to get a free I hate girls. Everyone a hoe. I don't know. Oh my god, that's not a model. If that's a model, my left toe can be a model.
These comments were clipped and posted on Twitter. At the same time, Banks' temper was tested, as he unleashed his rage upon Leah, who decided to entertain his anger. She instigated the drama. However, Banks was also responsible for it erupting further, initially accusing Leah of trying to get with him in the past, roping FaZe Censor into the fray, suggesting he had a similar experience.
Banks doesn't like that Sniper Wolf is talking crap about his girlfriend, so Banks is gonna go out there. He has so much ammunition on Sniper Wolf. She has this notorious reputation. LMAO, your boyfriend was texting me and was trying to hook up with me before he made you famous. Nice ass implants, by the way. At least mine is real. I forgot the fake boobs too. Nothing real about you. Peace.
You are a fucking liar, and my boss is real. Look at that. It's real!
You did text me and told me you think I'm cute and you would want to talk to me if you weren't in a relationship. But that's not my business. I'm not going to defend or attack you because I'm not interested in making people look bad. And that's the truth, guys. I really did not want to get involved in the situation. She wanted to talk to me. She said that she was in an abusive relationship and she couldn't get out of it. And this whole time, I never wanted to say a word about that, but oops, I just did. She responded with, when the F did I say this? LOL. I said, you called me crying and said Sausage, which is her boyfriend, has some dirt on you. And I said, listen, I don't want to get involved in your situation. It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't affect me. I hope it all works out for you.
Sensors logs were contextualized in the video where he goes to local Verizon to recover his past text logs.
Hi, this is Chief. Would talk to you more about wasn't in an abusive relationship I can't get out. So when I saw abusive relationship, I thought this was a serious problem. I instantly said, after I scrimmed with my team, call me. And we talked on the phone and she cried to me.
Following this video, the drama persisted when a figure exited the shadows and threatened Censor with legal action.
Leah has been talking to a lawyer. It took her a while as we were out of the country for almost 3 weeks. She has all the old phones, and there's some texts that aren't even when using recovery software to recover deleted text or loading up her old laptops with iMessage. I don't like you, and would normally be fine with her proceeding to sue, but I won't want you as part of my life for the next 6 to 18 months. So there's 2 options.
After deciding to degrade every single woman she could, then trying to suggest the men criticizing her were only annoyed that she rejected them, her boyfriend decided to threaten Censor with a lawsuit. Leah and Sausage act big and mighty in public, but behind the scenes they resort to threats to get what they want. Censor's reputation and allegiances were enough for him to stand his ground, and Leah walked away from this with her tail tucked between her legs. Sniper's status as a gamer slowly diminished at the turn of 2018. Her move to exclusive reaction videos saw her presence within the community drop. Towards the end of the year, she found herself in a fight against Keemstar, one where she was actually on the right side of the argument. It also introduced us to a rising creator, one that stood against everything Sniperwolf represented. Compared to Pokimane, the Sniperwolf brand was toxic and reinforced the negative stereotypes she has often spoken out against. Pokimane, to align her brand with Leah's, was and still is confusing, but maybe there's more to it that exists in the line. Leah was anything but kind to others. However, the hypocrisy of her negative comments towards other women has been explored very well.
For a young woman with thinning eyelashes, who glues and paints parts of her face, whose lips have been plumped so thoroughly that they look like a microwaved hot dog about to split its casing, who enlarges her corneas with contacts, who filters her blemished skin so hard that she looks like a cartoon by the time she's done. It's a bit rich for her calling out other women for having had work done, calling them fake, and then holding herself up above them. And look, if she didn't criticize other women relentlessly for doing these things, I don't think anyone would care that she does.
Nerd City went hard with this video.
It looks like someone has clone stamped an overspray onto the wood onto this dock here. It looks like someone has accidentally erased where the backside of her knee and thigh make contact with the wood. The leg and the dock have basically become one.
I can't imagine somebody would do this and think it looks legit and actually post it on social media and people will believe it.
Considering she is one of the top 100 individual creators on YouTube, you would expect a more developed character as a role model for young.
Welcome to my channel.
Leah won the Kids' Choice Award for Gaming 2 years in a row. How she qualified for that category without actually uploading any gaming videos is one of the biggest mysteries on the internet. But it's no secret that our audience consists of children, whose parents probably have no idea that the woman providing free babysitting services is one of the most controversial people on the website. She has often been labelled with different characterizations of intolerance based on what she says in her videos. On one occasion, people on Twitter criticised Leah for transphobic comments about the person in one of her videos.
Excuse me, it's ma'am. It is ma'am.
Okay, sorry, sir. Ma'am, I'm so sorry. How dare I not ask you what you identify as? Did you just assume my gender? How dare you? Do you see my pink purse? You gonna call me a sir? You see my pink shirt? You see this mascara? Are you gonna call me a sir? I'll tell you a sir. Which is it?
I need the corporate numbers now.
Gets misgendered in a GameStop. Give me the corporate number. Let's fight over it. Not your regular man. But okay, I will misgender you, okay? You're gonna have to calm down, sir. Oh my god, I did it again. Comment below. If you saw this person, is it a sir or a man? I'm gonna tell the whole LGBT community about this. You will lose money. GameStop stock dropped to 0. Come on, man. That's like me putting my hair up and getting mad if people don't call me a guy.
Whether that makes her transphobic is subject to opinion, but what she says echoes transphobic rhetoric, which resulted in many comments pointing it out. The video is still available, and you can see the criticism yourself. What you can't see is the clip, because she cut it from the video using the YouTube edit feature. She erased it, as if it never happened. So that's why I can understand why people would call her transphobic, because there was no attempt to acknowledge the criticism. When she can't erase something, she will deny it ever happened. The numerous screenshots Enigma had provided of her liking racist tweets towards him were simply waived because she didn't remember liking them. She can't completely remove Sexy Sniper from the internet, so she denies its existence. With good reason, because some of the things she said back then would be used to cancel her today. Take this comment from one of her earliest vlogs.
Why is he the Who is he? I don't know. Why is he? No, just look at him. Oh, look, he's like rough. She's like, oh, my hair looks after that makeup. She's back. Dude, my hair looks red.
Stow the hashtag for now. This was said in 2012. But it is a racist comment, and shows how she has always found a way to criticize other women with their appearance.
Spaffa.
Also, accountability
Welcome to my
doesn't
channel.
have an expiry date. You can't just delete something or pretend it never happened to avoid taking responsibility. There's no change without growth, and you can't grow without learning. So it's not unreasonable to see people question your values when they consistently try to do anything but acknowledge their mistakes.
No, I'm not going to go off and tell you how to live or how I think of you like you did to me and other girls and the 12-year-olds, but rather I'm going to sit here and maturely tell you that I do not agree with the video. Don't bring people down just because you don't agree with what they're doing to themselves. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of people agree with the things you said in that video, and even if there's validity and truth to it, it's not your place to bring attention to that, call attention to that, and put all these girls in this negative light on such a large platform. One of the girls is 12 years old. Come on. Imagine her going to school at that age and everyone saying, oh, I just saw you on Sniper Wolf's video. And imagine the bullying she's gonna get in school.
So because I won't take down my response video, she is basically blackmailing me and harassing me and calling me bad names.
Sniper Wolf responded on her own Insta story saying, quote, don't preach about bullying if you're going to use your audience to bully someone you don't know.
It's Leah's world. We just live in it.
Bro, the people in front of us are trying to do this challenge too because we've been waiting here for like 20 minutes so they're trying to get it under a certain amount. They've swapped out like 5-6 things right now. They swiped the card. That's a good sign. I'm getting impatient.
So this annoyed me. The audacity was number one. Film this random family that's trying to buy groceries and make it work with their real life budgets. And I can only imagine what it's like to have the added discomfort of an impatient woman behind you having herself and you filmed. Wake up and stop being trash. At least censor the people you're dissing.
This time, she actually responded.
The problem wasn't that they didn't have money. I mean, if that was the case, if they were struggling with money and they were taking a long time, I would have pulled out my wallet, I would have paid for it, no problem. But how people see this and try to like switch the story around to make it seem like I'm the bad guy, of course, it gets the views, right? Okay, so I watched the clip again, and I feel like what the part that people took wrong was when I said they were trying to get it under a certain amount. I feel really bad that anybody would have taken this the wrong way. So I feel like if anybody knows me, they know that I'm not like that at all. Like if anybody is struggling, I see somebody else holding up the line because they're struggling, like I will obviously pay for it.
So you feel bad because people took it the wrong way?
Leah has changed, but it's not how the relationship, rather situational. Because of everything that's been discussed up to now, it's no surprise that she has decided to step back from the social side of social media. Now that she's not calling everyone an idiot on Twitter, there's less chance she opens herself up to scrutiny, which has had a positive result, as there have been very little controversy surrounding her brand. That being said, this is Sniper Wolf.
Who's your favorite person you follow on TikTok? Who's your favorite? Sniper Wolf. You don't know about her. We gotta show you. You gotta put me on.
That's crazy.
Try to get in touch with her. I know some people who know her, so.
Leah was in contact with Kiara, and all she had to do was donate some of her time to the brand. All was well. Keemstar, still in the best of spirit, dropped a thread claiming that Leah was ghosting Kiara and hadn't talked to her.
I just saw the goddamn text messages between S.W.Frost and the mom makes the date of when to do this and the time when to do this, and she just blew it off. Like, you have to be a certain piece of shit to fucking do this. Like, you are such a fucking scumbag. If you see this at all, make the FaceTime call right now, because the kid is literally dying right now, you piece of shit.
Leah argued with Keem and a few others, until she posted a screenshot of a conversation with Kiara the next day. Two egomaniacal internet celebrities decided that a dying girl was the subject to continue their long-lasting feud. She did at least try to contact Kiara, but her mother's frustration with Leah's lack of urgency was understandable. The situation from each side was discussed. Keem only cared about this because he could use it against Leah. Likewise, she only prioritized it when her brand was dragged through the mud. She could have set a date and time to make a call. It's not a monumental task. But the fact they both used a dying girl to generate content on Twitter is plain evil. Not exactly an exemplar of fantastic behavior towards a family suffering a great deal of pain. Kiara probably had no idea what was happening. She just wanted to support her favorite YouTuber, so it's good that she got what she wanted. Sniper Wolf is a brand that is appealing to advertisers, but not other creators. In 2018, she was invited onto Good Mythical Morning, with the preview posted on March 13. Within hours, it was removed after receiving a strong dislike ratio. The episode featuring her never aired. Her reputation was disrupted for other creators, and her isolation was enforced rather than a choice. Valkyrie tweeted that she had carried Fortnite off stream here, suggesting that it was a nice time and that she was able to get to know her personally. However, the tweet was deleted after she was met with comments questioning her choice to associate with Leah. Valkyrie responded to people commenting on it, claiming she didn't know Leah's history, suggesting she doesn't want controversial comments from the tweet. Leah's reputation is so poor that she has created an issue for other creators simply playing a game with her. Those who aren't invested in a relationship with Leah are pressured to cut contact, or at least any public recognition of her, which is, unfortunately, the only level of accountability people can enforce on her. Annoy those who associate with her. Being ostracized from what was her community, the genre that she was a part of building, must hurt. But it's hard to sympathize with her, considering it was her fault that she was driven away from the others. But she's probably not losing any sleep. Sniper Wolf has become a regular fixture on YouTube's front page. Despite not being able to interact with her colleagues publicly, she doesn't need their influence to help sustain her channel. The years in isolation have been positive for her YouTube career. She has to be given credit for the consistency of her content over this time, because uploading the same monotonous videos is creatively draining.
Over and over again. That is crazy.
But it is not broken. Why fix it? The consistency has led them to be a recognized figure online, sure it may be due to the girl thumbnail, but the persistence of her content beyond personalized delivery cemented her to tell the channel to got the rankings. She benefited from the global lockdown, and like most, her channel blossomed with the increased traffic flocking to online sources of entertainment. During this time, her videos would average at least 10 million views, a significant number consistently achieved. Although it seems any bridges other creators have all but been burned, she recently signed a long-term contract with G Fuel.
Drink the fuel! Time to record videos, play some games. Actually, take this before I go to the gym. Have you seen these games? It actually gives me energy. You just gotta feel it.
S.W.Frost's partnership with G Fuel isn't entirely new, having been a part of their sponsorship program in the early days.
Ready. Set.
Considering her history and the issues she has had with G Fuel's former partners, it's interesting to see them make this move. Considering what's said in their press release, they are clearly looking to capitalize on the current extreme of viewers. A very smart decision, but let's be honest, morality has never been at the forefront of G Fuel's minds.
And after being assured that no one would be losing their jobs, once they started complaining to HR about what that upper figure did say, then, without warning, 7 people were laid off.
S.W.Frost is a YouTube institution. The further you look, the more clear it is how toxic and opportunistic her character was, veiled behind the pearly veneers of an endorsed creator, specially handpicked to lead a platform forward. All she needs to do is acknowledge her past and hold herself accountable for it. But with all institutions, the admittance of failure weakens its image, and image is all she cares for. Snipewolf's isolation has ultimately put her name out of people's minds and mouths, to her benefit. It begs the question of how long a person's past behaviour can be excused, and whether there's an expiry date for accountability. The bullying, manipulation, misuse of copyright and disregard for decency may all be in the past, but there is no precedent to suggest that she has developed as a person. All she's done is disconnect from places like Twitter, and rarely interacts with creators outside her circle. That's not enough to accurately assess her character. She no longer represents gaming, nor does that community regard her as someone with influence in its structure. She's evolved into a leading creator. YouTube promotes her and invites her to many exclusive events. The question remains, how can anyone realistically trust her when everything she has said has been a lie? Every other creator on this platform must address their history at some point in their career. Why she's the exception is one of the only things to be determined.
Well done.
Hopefully this video has been insightful. None of this information is new, nor is it impossible to find, but only time will tell if she takes action, moves towards acknowledging her past, apologizing to all she impacted. Until then, we will continue to document, reminding everyone of what she has done. This has been part 3. Thank you for watching.
Are you guys ready to suffer? I am. Shoe on Head presents Barbie, an accidental anti-woke masterpiece.
Hey everybody, today we're here debating the black pill and we are starting
Take-Two Interactive GTA, who had $70 game Revolution with NBA 2K, adds a $20 a month season pass to its annual basketball game. Oh, wow. Let's take a look at this. $70 base game, $60 Xbox or PlayStation Online, one My Career build, can't reassign skill points, $240 top tier season pass, $470, and nothing will carry over to NBA 2K 25. Well, you know what? You get what you fucking deserve. And people that kept making excuses about this stuff and saying, well, that's fine, I just play the game for fun. Well, that's what they get. This is what you fucking get. Yeah, people get farmed by this. That's what happens. The thing is that most people that follow 2K and FIFA, they're not on Reddit talking about video games, okay? Like, these are people that are at a bar. Yeah, these are people that do not give a fuck about this stuff. They'll pay the money and it's no problem. People that play sports games for video, so they're still gonna play it. There it is. And I don't know if everybody that plays sports games is an idiot. I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm not a sports game enjoyer, personally. But I think anybody that pays $470
flowing into this.
What the hell is this? I took a break.
First 7 minutes of the YouTube, so he's the first 7 seconds, so he's not going to use profanity this early on, so it doesn't get demonetized. This is a very good decision by Joe here. Very smart, playing the game, always winning.
From editing Baldur's Gate, and tomorrow we're playing Madden. But on Twitter, somebody tweeted me this. What am I looking at? Are you serious? NBA 2K24.
I'll be honest, bro. Like, look at the dude's face. Wait, oh, you can't see it. That's my face looking at this fucking post. That's exactly my expression. It's actually kind of funny they put it there. Because that's exactly the way that I would see it. Let me go back. I'll read what the guy posted. Season pass implementation might be the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in regards to gaming company greed. It's not. I know you probably don't have much context with this picture. I think public PK just wanted to give you a heads up. Alright.
Are you serious? NBA 2K24. If you don't know what this is, good! Because I don't know what it is. This is fucking garbage, is what it is. It is a season pass to play basketball in a 60 no.
Well, it's a season pass to play a video game that you can play basketball. You don't play basketball, you just need a ball. But no.
$70 title with special editions.
Oh, this is $70? I could have never guessed.
$80, $90, $100 they do.
Well, I should start making sports games. I'm probably making so much money off this shit.
This day, now they want to take a season of basketball and throw a battle pass in it like it's motherfucking Apex Legends, like it's a free-to-play game, like you're unlocking fucking gun skins. What are you, unlocking shoe skins? You know, what?
Actually, probably that is one thing that you unlock. I bet you probably do unlock shoe skins. Now that you bring that up,
it's happening here.
Great idea.
Is this what you were dealing with? This is new, right? This cannot be what you guys have been dealing with in the basketball world for
this is even worse.
A while now, right? Somebody fucking enlighten me if this is fucking normal. I'm over here in fucking football land when I'm really basketball land is on fire as well. What the fuck is happening to sports games? Are you?
Is the problem, the reason why it works is because the people that play sports games are such fucking normies. They're like, well, I can be in the Hall of Fame for $20, okay. Well, I get more experience? Nice. And they never think about it.
Fucking serious? And I've never really called out NBA except for the time they tried motherfucking casino machines.
Why'd they get rid of casino machines. That's a good idea. Oh! Yep. Modern gaming in one picture. You know, these dudes probably grew up playing like, I think they're a bit older than me. So probably either Nintendo or Super Nintendo. And now we're here. Man, fuck. Oh, wait, I want to see that picture again. Oh my god. Oh, fuck. Wow. 777.
I don't understand. This is the worst example I have ever seen. This is so blatant that they are literally saying, oh, y'all, motherfucking casino machines. I don't understand why the sports gamers take this year in and year out. And
what do you mean, man? Isn't Stake sponsoring a bunch of sports teams anyway? What are we talking about? Sports betting is the biggest kind of betting in the whole country. People are okay with sports gambling because that's the most popular kind of gambling. I mean, shit. It's normal, it is. Even ESPN has a betting app now. Really? Let me look that up. Where's the Google Play Store? ESPN betting app. Ooh, there's a lot of these. Scores, odds, sports betting, Vegas Insider, sports betting, ESPN Fantasy Sports, Betting Pros, sports, Fox, Bet Super 6, FanDuel, Sportsbook, and Casino. The scores, sports news and scores, sports betting picks, betting picks, fuck! And tip app, wager talk, sports betting tips, flip, sports picks, sports betting, oh my god, bet on sports, Capricorn, sports betting tools, sports grid, sports betting, Barstool, sports book and casino, Bet 365, sports betting, DraftKings, sportsbook and casino, Bet Plus. Oh, I think that's actually BET.
God, where did I read that?
Never mind.
I'm not ready.
Okay. So the point is that there's a lot of sports betting apps.
Getting fucked in the ass, and they open their fucking wallets, and they pay for this fucking useless garbage. So what is it? What is this pass that you get? What do you get in it? Oh, well, don't worry, because the big change is now you have an option to pay an additional $10 per season to get a pro tier.
Well, there's also $20 for a second tier. Every game now has 2 tiers of Battle Pass. There's the Battle Pass, and then there's the Battle Pass with people that like to light their money on fire.
Is it what grants you 40 premium rewards?
By the way,
an additional 40 premium rewards, because the normal, if you play the game for free, what do you mean for free? If you play the game for the cost of the full retail purchase price, they're only going to give you 40 rewards.
Yeah,
but
if you only pay $70 for the game, you ain't gonna get much.
You pay them $10 more, you're gonna get 80 rewards and some currency. And if you want, if you want to go up even another level, you can go to the Hall of Fame and get 1 additional immediate reward and a 15% XP booster and 10 level skips on this stupid.
So if you want to spend extra money, you can avoid having to play the game.
Pointless progression system that has nothing to do with anything about basketball. Basketball is what we're talking about here, and we're talking about a paid season pass for a game that you've already played.
Well, but you pay for a season pass if you want to go see the games in real life. So it would make sense that you'd have to pay for a season pass if you want to play the game on the Xbox, because that actually kind of makes it more realistic whenever you think about it. Yeah, it's like tickets.
If these companies are gonna do this shit, they need to make sports games free. That's it. That's it. Your sports.
Be careful what you wish for. You're gonna be seeing that spinny thing come right back.
Games are now free. I have declared that now you're going free to play. You're not charging your audience $70 fucking every year for a fucking rock
sports game
roster update and barely any additional features. Oh man, I can't wait to get to fucking Madden. If Madden fucking sees this, forget about it. You're gonna have the Ultimate Team plus season passes for a season of football. They're gonna find some way to justify forcing you to spend another $10 a month, $12 a month on roster updates. I just fucking know it's coming. So what? I just don't get it. And then they combine this with, hey, we're combining my career with my team so that you won't have to earn rewards separately in those modes anymore like you were.
About you so much.
That shit should have already been implemented. That is.
Yeah, but you have to put a roadblock into the game in order to have people suck your dick to get rid of it. Because what do you think that's going to happen? Well, you put the ankle weights on the players, and then you keep them there for long enough, and then you take them off, and the players say, thank you so much. We love you. I can't believe you would be kind enough to take these ankle weights off of me. Yeah, I mean, this is just how it is. This is the way the game is, man. Didn't Diablo 4 do that with skins? What's the difference? I don't give a fuck. Like, I mean, the thing is that this is the way that I don't know how sports games work, to be honest. So I don't really know what the difference is. Like, you think I'm
not ready.
Like, if I want to go play basketball, I go out and play basketball, and I'm not gonna go play basketball. I'm gonna go play basketball. Basketball is the best sport to watch. I hate playing.
It's not a feature of this. That is something that you should be doing to improve your fucking basketball game year after year. Are you not sick of additional monetization 2K basketball fans?
No, they're not. The answer to that question is no. You think that they're tired of it? They're not.
Well, I am, and I don't even fucking play the game. I have friends that fucking play the game that I'm gonna excommunicado if they don't fucking stop it. It's fucking sad because sports gamers are like abused and battered wives. They keep going back to their fucking situation.
Actually, because like the batter wife, they know that shit's wrong. But North Korean citizens, they think that they're in the greatest country in the world. They think that, well, everyone else, people in America are eating rocks and drinking piss. So it's like in North Korea, whenever they just have warm water to drink and bread, maybe, you know, they think that they got it pretty good. So it's like you have the sports gamers, and it's like to them, they don't know any better. They don't know anything like that. This is all they've ever known. They buy Madden every year, every other year. That's it. So yeah, they're not like North Korean citizens, I would say, battery water. But I can see what he's getting at.
Over and over, and they complain, and then they fucking shell it out. You need to stop. This needs to stop. You need to speak out, and if you're not gonna fucking do it, nobody's gonna do it. They're gonna milk. You're gonna milk the kitties.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like the thing is, what's so funny about this is Joe is 100%. Everything that you're saying is completely fucking and not a single person that needs to hear it is gonna see this video.
Not ready yet.
Your little titties are gonna be so goddamn milked by the end of this thing that you're not getting you're not getting the experience that you deserve for the amount of money that you're putting into the game. I think we can all agree this shit should now be free. If you want to fucking charge season passes, okay, if additional monetization on top, and you could argue that the Basket 2K is already overly monetized. That's why Joe doesn't bother with it. I don't bother with it. Madden, I only bother with Madden. That's over monetized with Ultimate Team because I like football. So if I like basketball more than football,
yeah, you'd be getting moved around by this too. Imagine what happens to people that like anime girls.
This would be my fucking rage every fucking year.
Those guys are getting fucking farmed.
It just so happens that this year, it fucking exploded to where you get a basketball video before you get the fucking football video. I don't want tomorrow to happen where we fucking play Madden and I see what the fuck is in Madden.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, NBA 2K fans. It's shitty to see, man. Tell me in the comments, what have you guys been dealing with? Is this not ridiculous? A season fucking pass in a fully priced game as if it's fucking Apex.
I can't wait to watch the Diablo 4 video after this. That's totally different and doesn't have any of these same exact problems.
Legends with pointless fucking rewards and XP boosters and level skips. When is this shit gonna stop? Whether you play the game or not,
Well, it'll stop whenever people stop buying them. So it's not gonna stop.
Absolutely can be upset about how now we're implementing season pass free-to-play type things in games that aren't even set up for it. An additional $10 for Pro, an additional $20 for Hall of Fame, on top of the $70 and then the limited edition. I'm gonna fucking look up the NBA 2K. How many editions are NBA 2K24? Of course, there's a fucking 25th anniversary edition. There's the fucking WNBA edition. What the fuck is this? What is this shit? Are you just what? This W fucking NBA. There's the Kobe Bryant edition. There's the fucking Black Mamba edition. There's the fucking.
There's actually 4 different editions of the same game. Wow, what a surprise!
Anniversary edition. Notice how in every single one of these you fucking split the prize at the fucking opening. What did I fucking say? The WNBA version. $69.99, 69. Kobe Bryant, $70. It's a fucking $100.
$100 for the Black Mamba 2024 NBA edition. 100 buckaroos.
Fucking game. $100 fucking game. And 25th anniversary edition. 100.
Well, you're getting both. What? $150?
$150. And now you want to put another $10 on top of that with fucking Season Pass Pro and another fucking $20 Hall of Fame edition on top of that.
So it's $170.
Is this not getting out of control?
But the thing is that, like, if you do the math, that's only like $12 a month to play a game you play all the time. And if you go out, drinking, you probably spend that much in a night. So by sports game fan logic, this shit is cheap.
If you value your life.
It's out of fucking control, and it needs to fucking stop. Stop this sick filth.
Nope.
Wait, so they have been? They have been charging for player packs, player builds, character clothes, shoes, bikes,
Gatorade and skill boosts for your character. What do you have, like an electrolyte meter? And once it gets too low, he misses all the free throws? How does this work? You fill up your electrolyte bar, you got a 50% chance to hit the three-pointer.
Gatorade and skill boosts for your character, and now battle passes.
Yep. What the fuck? That's right. That's right. Yep. Well, I'm glad Phil made this video. So it won't happen. No. Yeah. I'm glad that he did this for us. Stop this shit. Yo, thank you, Joe. I feel bad, too. Like, thank you, Joe. Probably the same as me and fucking everybody else. I'm glad at least somebody's out there talking about it. I would never pay a lot of attention to this, man. Racing simulators are way worse. Yeah, I'm sure that there are a lot of thank you for covering. Gaming industry needs another crash. This stuff is unacceptable. Be careful what you wish for. Answer why this continues and not only happen to getting worse, but really gaming casuals continue to support this practice. Yeah, it's just that simple. It will not stop until the people spending their money on it. Yeah, true. The basketball fan is great to see one of the audience. This 2K has been so story ever since 2K after it jumped to Xbox One and PS4, more people want to talk about this. Just on top of that $70, you can spend another $50 to make one character that you might get messed up on due to getting the game release day. Oh my god. The company name 2K refers to the amount of money that they want you to spend for each game they make. You know what? Give it a few more years and that's going to be true. Holy shit. $150 edition comes with a 12-month Leagues Pass subscription. It's possible watching a basketball game, which is $15 a month usually. So what you're saying is that the $150, you're saying that we should buy the $150 edition right now. We should get that right now, bro. Like, let's go. Is that actually true? I don't know. I don't watch basketball. I don't watch sports. The only time that I watch sports is on Twitch. Whenever somebody illegally rebroadcasts the UFC game. Football's on. Let's see what's in the chat. Oh, racism. We got Europeans about whose country is better. All in these different languages nobody understands, but there's like swastikas in the chat, so you know they don't like each other. You know?
Not ready yet. I'm not ready yet.
Let's look at the tipping culture one first. This is fast.
Tipping. A generous act of courtesy you do when you're more than satisfied with the service you were provided. And you
nope, you have to do it every time now, and if you don't, the delivery driver just doesn't show up. You only gave him $3? Yeah, well, you're only gonna get nothing.
A little extra money. Usually you get used to your service at restaurants. This is a way of telling them this is a good job.
Yeah.
All around the world. That's the important concept for us. Tipping is a normal thing. Okay. But no place
And I do think, yeah, you're definitely right. People in chat, in many places, tipping is not only not accepted or not the norm, but it's seen as an insult, as if like, oh, you need this money because you're a loser. I think that's the culture in Japan, for example. So there are many places in the world where tipping is not the norm. I think that actually, I don't know this. I'm just like kind of like ballparking it. It seems like there are more places where tipping is not the culture than it is the culture.
X Games mode with the tipping over here, cause we be giving everybody tips. We tip our delivery drivers, taxis, bellhops, housekeeping, house movers, bartenders. If you're in
like the way that I look at tipping, this is whenever I tip people, is that the only thing is if they're doing something that is incredibly personal, and I think that, like, you know, the value of that is a little bit more determined, like it's like a little bit more flexible, or if it's like at a restaurant. Like, I have no problem personally tipping people because I have a lot of money, and so it's not a big deal. So I'll tip people all the time, but like whenever I didn't have any money, I didn't really tip anybody.
In service, then most likely you accept tips. Even my homie's last job at the gas station where he just pumped people's gas, he got over $100 in tips in one day.
That's a lot.
I didn't even know people tip. We love to tip everybody except the homies. But let me go off real quick.
That was a good one. That was so good. We tip everybody except the homeless. That's so fucking cool. And we just got this skipping over that. That was, oh,
I'm seeing tipping options where I've never seen them before, like counter services, you know, cashiers.
Yeah.
I've never heard of tipping cashiers, but those blue blocks on the iPad bake the dip. One time.
Have you guys ever seen a cashier, like whenever you go to a grocery store and there's a tip pad? I've never seen that personally. I go grocery shopping pretty regularly. Yeah, I've never seen it personally.
I went to a concert and I went to the merch booth. I got a hoodie, bro handed me the hoodie, then turned around his iPad for a tip. Now I know these people.
There's no way. Like, have you guys had that happen? I've never had that happen. Maybe it's in like a lot, like way smaller stores or like boutique stores. Is that like you think those are like what the fuck? I haven't been to a years. That's cool. Yeah. Actually, because like I always do like buying merchandise. That's why I say, like, you know, if you support OTK, you can buy them like a shirt or a hoodie. Like, that is the what do you mean? Because, like, guys, the like, fucking video game streamer merch it's an upcharge. It is. You're paying more to support the brand and the people that are behind it. So, like, that is the tip. Buying it is the tip. It's just you tip more, and then you tip it the sooner, and then you get a shirt out of it. Like, you don't tip you don't tip for the privilege of being able to give a tip. What? It's crazy.
Don't get
It's the
paid
tip
too
of the
well,
tip.
but what in that interaction concurred a tip? Did he slip me $100 bill in a hoodie that I didn't see? I don't think so.
No.
Nah, I don't think I'm gonna tip. But I would usually see these in local businesses most of the time, so that's all fine and dandy. But I heard y'all don't do tips. Nah, I don't really go to
Really? Is that true? I like last time
Not ready yet.
The Starbucks people, did they get paid an actual wage, or are they getting paid like 3 peanuts and a hot dog? They get paid? Okay, yeah, so they get paid a wage. Okay.
I like my coffee how I like my men. Long, black, and beer. And no offense to your Starbucks employees. Like, why would I tip the drive-thru cashier? That just sounds unnecessary. And as long as those restaurants are not asking for tips, then I'm never gonna tip. Don't get no ideas, please.
Well, I mean, I think that, like, really, it's like just because somebody asks for a tip doesn't mean you have to give them a tip. Like, tipping a barista is normal, like tipping a waiter? No, it's not. I don't think it's normal. Because it's really different. Because being paid a livable wage, a minimum wage, that is not
ready.
Like, they are not being paid with being enhanced. Yeah, I don't think so. Like, they're not being tipped
Far Dragons. What's up?
These people are working their ass off no matter what. Like, who gives a fuck? Like, oh, well, you know, you're doing this, so it's like, is it special? Fuck no, it's not special. Like, everybody works their fucking ass off. Or at least a lot of people do.
I'm selfish. I'm not trying to tip out Wendy's, bro. But I know that they will eventually come. I can smell it. This is the U.S. We'll somehow incorporate tipping into everything. So the employers can justify why they're paying their employees minimum wage. And whenever someone doesn't tip, they get mad at us instead of the So restaurants, for example, can pay their waiters low salaries to encourage them to aim for tips. So
one of the cute things about this is that the origin of tipping, guess what the origin of tipping is in America? It was this really crazy thing that we had called slavery. Yeah. So like basically they would give ex-slaves money as tips. Yeah. Isn't that cool? That's the system. That
holds holly jolly of a worker as possible to try to get in. So the customer will walk away feeling happy about their experience. The owner of the restaurant being happy because of the profit and good look of the business. Walk away with a $2 tip and food stamps for salary.
Well, it's a $2.14. You know, that's enough money. Some place to work at restaurants, they get paid like What the fuck is the restaurant paying? What does that have to do with me? I don't understand. Nothing to be empathetic? Well, why can't they be empathetic to you? Who says that you got money? Who says this isn't the only time in the whole month that you can afford to go out to eat? You got like 3 kids. Like what it goes both ways. The only difference is that you're not going there asking them to foot the bill for your bad life decisions. You work as a fucking worker. You sign a contract to work for $3. You signed up for this. Nobody signed you up for this. You're not a slave. It's so short-sighted. No, it's not. No, it's not at all. Don't make bad life decisions. Do things that you don't want to do. You supplement my income, please, sir.
Or at least that's what my game is. Now people that have never had a job might say, is that a good thing? I mean, employers actually try to do their job well, bro. Ain't nobody want to work minimum wage, period, bro. And it's like, doesn't matter if it's a tip. All it takes is one bad day of penny pinching tips to be like, well, Scoob, I guess we have to eat whatever's in the fridge. You should know. I used to be a waiter. I was a waiter for weddings and other events in my late teens. And my wage was decent, $15 an hour, and for a high school student, that's a lot. I only worked on the weekends, man. This job was gonna be a whole lot. But that was only because I was a kid. I ain't need that much in the first place. I can afford food.
Not ready yet.
So, more of the fun, most of the time, I did not get any tips or very little food. And 95% of my...
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the way it is. People don't have choices. What if you're born into poverty? Capitalism oppresses us all, putting us against each other. Okay, this is government responsibility. It's not some other random person's responsibility. Then go get mad at the government. Because the government are the ones that make this decision. Like, it's the government's fault that you're getting paid $2. It's not the company's fault. The company's just following the rules. It's not the customer's fault. The customer's just living their life. Then go over to the fucking Capitol building and stop complaining about tips. You just completely fucking misunderstand. It's not a company's responsibility to provide like some sort of like livable world for just people at large. A company's responsibility is to provide a product, and a government's responsibility is to provide a livable world. So focus on what matters. I don't want to fucking look. I don't want to have, you know, I don't want to have a world where people are expecting Microsoft and McDonald's to throw out lifelines and take care of people. You see how fucking unhealthy that is? That's such a bad idea. I can't believe anybody just gets fucking hoodwinked by this. You'd be getting mad at the government. It's the government's fault. They wrote the rules. If other countries can make it so tipping isn't a thing, then why can't America do it? Because people in America are stupid. That's the reason. That's the reason. And it's actually really not any more complicated than that. So the problem with tipping culture is that it is a culture. If everybody decided tomorrow, we're not going to tip anymore.
You have done much to
fuck
honor
that shit.
the bear for your role in cleansing
Then the
Mama of
entire
the
system
Kasra
would
filth.
change.
I offer you
But the
this
problem
weapon
is
of our
that people are so afraid of being seen in a social negative light that they give their own hard-earned money away just to avoid that uncomfortability. And that is how people get taken advantage of. And you know what I think? I think they're pathetic for letting it happen. You are a grown-ass fucking man. You are a grown-ass fucking woman. You need to make your decisions for yourself and stop trying to live your life in order to appeal to people that literally want to take your money away. Get the fuck out of here. This is a problem that can be immediately solved with the culture. The culture is what needs to change. Like, the laws will reflect the culture. The problem is that you have, this is the worst fucking thing. I watched another video about this. I said it in the other video. The people that love tips are middle class people that pray to God every fucking day and thank God every fucking day they're not living in the projects. People that are very wealthy either tip or they do not. It depends on whatever. But it is always these middle class people that are always shitting on the lower class for not being able to afford the tip. That's where it comes from. It's pathetic. The weak minds are easily controlled. They are, and that's why we have the tipping culture.
Gigs was at weddings, so the food was already paid for. I was giving these niggas free food, and I got nothing. And I was always all nice and shit. I was never mean. I was all like, hello, hot diggity day. What would you lovely people like to have? I thought I was doing a good job. I even shaved off my hair to be more presentable, which is something I still regret to this day. Don't cut the hair you love for no jobs. Unless it look like this, you might get no job with that.
Okay,
I did get tips sometimes. The biggest tip I've ever gotten was $40 from a table of old white women and a gay dude. And from then on, they became my target audience. I'd always pick the table with the gay niggas, cause I know they'd give me the biggest tip. And me complaining about small tips might sound like a trivial problem, but I'm talking about like in the grand scheme of things of this kind of job. Like if I was an adult with this job, paying bills, taxes, rent, all that, I could not live like this. I know this cause I had coworkers in their late 20s, 30s, 40s who said they couldn't take care of themselves with this wage.
Then what are you doing with the fucking job? What are you doing, man? You're in your 30s. What the fuck you been doing the last 10 years of your life? Holy shit. What the fuck are you doing? It's you, yeah. Playing video games? That's fine. That's fine. The thing is, listen. It's totally okay to be in a bad position, but the problem is whenever you blame somebody besides yourself. Sometimes there are people who are in bad positions as a result of their own actions. It's crazy, isn't it?
That's why they sold drugs on the side. That's why we should hold these businesses accountable to have higher wages for their employees so they don't have to rely on tips anymore. We must rock.
Thank you so fucking much. That is exactly it. Yep.
Eyes against this corrupt business practice.
Yep.
Who's with me?
Yep. Yep.
You're just saying this because you just don't want to pay tips no more.
Yeah, true. Yo, fuck that shit. That's stupid. Yep. That's right.
Well, duh. I don't like tipping.
Exactly.
Who does? Who wants to pay more of their own money when they don't have to? I'm not a misogynist, a masochist. Wrong word. I am the other one. I'm not saying I don't tip. I do. But mainly because I want to at least try to balance out my good.
and